Hello and welcome to the RWBY Podcast, Volume 4, Episode 10, Kudo Yuri. I am your friendly neighborhood mediocrity 4.
It is me, high-powered, coming back from Rust, and to moderate this esteemed podcast.
I'm Ballzy. I have returned.
I'm Dudewuttheheck.
God damn it! Whoops.
You paused for too long.
Continue. You continue.
Did you finish?
Yeah.
Is it my turn? I'm Dudewuttheheck, and I am soaked from head to toe because it actually rained in California. I am tired as hell. I haven't eaten in about 24 hours. I'm trying to learn Japanese, and that's not going well. But all of that's okay because if you thought my Renora-loving ass was excited last week, you have no idea.
And I love this episode with every fiber of my being. Or was it cotton? Details. It's Socklucard.
Oh, I get it.
That was pretty clever.
So much getting. That's good.
Sock's really good at this.
Yeah, Sock is good at
Be
that.
proud.
Alright. Okay, so we got this. I enjoyed this episode outside of the child voice acting. But,
yes, the child voice acting. Let's get that out of the way. Ren's child voice actor couldn't decide if he was Asian or British, and his mom was weirdly British, and I don't know what the fuck was going on with all that, but yeah.
Please, sir, may I have some more?
Yeah.
More!
Can I?
Yeah, it's like, what is he, Oliver Twist?
Yeah, there's, the voice acting from Ren's baby voice actor. Not strong.
But anyway, 1,000-foot view of this episode.
So, we got a flashback. Thankfully, the flashback wasn't the entire episode. That was a worry that I had. We also got to... We had a good moment with John and RWBY. John's really good. Yeah, Lancaster intensifies.
Yeah, Lancaster definitely intensified this episode.
Yeah,
too.
It does.
Lots of shipping in this episode, let's be real. This is probably the most ship-tastic episode we've ever had.
Renora, too, also. That was good.
That's not even a question.
Well, Renora is the new Nimitz-class Renora battleship. New Nimitz-class Renora aircraft carrier set sail today, almost.
I was going to say, is that even like a current class? I'm going to check that real quick.
I think the Nimitz-class is the current one. The next one is like the Enterprise class or something like that.
Oh, whatever.
Armed the heavy cannon.
Nimitz class is definitely a U.S. aircraft carrier class. I do know that.
All right, let's get off that subject.
Sorry.
Okay, as much as I love to talk about ships, the boats and then the anime boat girls and then shipping and RWBY, but and then we also got. I mean, that was basically.
We got Oscar.
We got Oscar.
Okay, is this gonna be like a recurring thing in the podcast where we're like, oh yeah, Oscar was in this episode?
Yeah, that's always what happens though.
It happened last time too.
You see, I don't want to forget Oscar, but it's just like, oh hey, he ghosts in and ghosts out, just like I said he would, like in like the first podcast that we did, and I'm like, I'm just happy that he just ghosts in, ghosts out. So.
We'll cover him first, though, right? I think.
Yeah, so we're going to break this down pretty simple. We're going to start with probably the easiest part to talk about. We're going to talk about Oscar. So Oscar listens to the voice in his head, aka Ozpin, and gets his pack on, and then he goes on an adventure. But his first major quest hurdle that he runs into is that he can't afford the train ticket to Mistral.
I'm a farm boy. Where am I going to get the money?
But fortunately, a very large and burly man comes in and helps him with his fist. And by helps him with his fist, I mean he punches the ATM machine or train ticket machine.
Like a
violence solves all.
That is not. I thought you were going to make a joke with that, but you didn't.
I thought about it. I was tempted to, but I'm not into that sort of stuff, so I wasn't going to make that joke.
That is a man from Ozpin's past.
Well, yeah, so we did learn a few interesting things. The biggest thing that we learned was that Ozpin knows Hazel.
Yes, that's a thing.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, which I mean that's obvious that he would.
I mean,
know.
then again, he didn't know Cinder, so whatever.
Well, Cinder would seem like she's younger, so my assumption is he's a more recent recruit anyway. So that's probably why he didn't know her.
And Cinder
Yeah.
was disguised with a mask that would come off and then stay on, and then not decided if it wanted to be on her face at times. But
And then it became half a mask when she lost her eye.
Lel. But yeah, so Ozpin knows Hazel, and he is not a man to be underestimated, which I believe whatever we talked about all of the bad guys that we came to the consensus that Hazel is probably the most dangerous out of the group.
Yeah, that would
And-
be.
It's always the quiet ones.
He probably has a loving family at home.
Yeah, okay, this is my headcanon, is that Hazel has like a loving family at home, and he probably has like 5 kids and like a really hot wife. And then he's like, okay, I'm going out of town for work again.
So he's basically a Nazi then. Like, you know how they always portray the Nazis in the movies. He's one of those guys.
I mean, well, any bad guy can be like that, not just the Nazis. But,
I'm just
you
saying
know,
they do tend to portray that in a lot of the films that you see them in.
But, I mean, that's basically it for the 1000. We could dig in just a little bit deeper, but we'll save that towards the end. So...
Yeah, it's
the
pretty
only
straightforward
thing
there.
that the only thing that it means though is that either the only 2 questions that I have, which I'll save for the whole group towards the end, is Hazel done talking to Sienna Khan, or is he going to talk to Sienna Khan, or has he been tasked with another mission?
Yeah, we'll have to get
Because-
into that for sure.
Because it seems this volume is happening within the time span of about like a month to 2 months. If I have to like do the mental math in my head.
That's what, yeah, especially with what Nora said later in the episode. That kind of
Yes,
gives us
especially
a much bigger clue to that. So, well, yeah, we'll get into that for sure later.
Another thing is how much Ozpin's affecting Oscars, because as he said, it's, you know, he knows it's crazy. What he's doing is crazy. He doesn't really want to be. There's a small inkling that he wants to, but at the same time, he's just doing it. It just feels different. It's like, how much is this presence in my
Yeah, I
mind
want to get into
affecting
that too. The fact that nothing made him go, the fact that Ozpin just convinced him. So we'll get it. That's definitely something. we'll talk about.
Off screen.
Ozpin has really high charisma.
Yeah,
me?
that's what we put
It's
all
like
his points
the
into.
50 plus charisma cap from SAO abridged.
Ayo. So next we get Jean and RWBY and Crow technically in Kuroyuri.
Yeah, Crow is still keeling over.
Yeah, he's still laying down and being just dead weight. So he's in there in Kuroyuri, and
I'm so proud of
it's
you.
fried to. There's no skeletons or dead bodies, which, considering the timeline, there really should be some sort of remains, but I guess there isn't.
Maybe they have to keep a PG-13 rating.
Well,
Yeah.
and maybe the Grim just ate them all.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
would have
true
been
too.
cleaned up by that.
Also-
That happened like years and years ago, so it would have been cleaned up.
Where
This is true. Yeah, so this kind
Crow's
of
weapon.
somewhere.
I'll tell you where it's not on screen.
Oh no! Yeah, I was going to say it's not on screen, but that rolls into the flashback of this episode. So
Yeah, speaking of which, that was a nice little segue from like the dead flower into like when it bloomed.
Yeah,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
like the line that preceded that was Jean was like, I have a pretty good idea. So he probably does know. He just might not know that it was this town in particular. But you know how like Nora's a blabbermouth, so it makes
exactly.
sense
They
for
were
Jean.
a
It makes
team.
Jean.
They-
Yeah. And Jean is their team leader. Like, it makes sense for him to know at least their backstory, even if he doesn't know specifics.
Yeah, so the flashback is we get little baby Ren, and he's adorable and totally poorly voice acted, but still adorable, with his weirdly British mother, and his father is out hunting, which I guess hunting like in the traditional sense, not being a huntsman.
I don't
Which is-
see. I don't know
Well,
about
that's
that.
clued in.
Yeah.
That's clued in
I'll-
later
I'll-
in
yeah,
the
I'll
episode.
get- I'll
though.
get
We'll
into that later.
We'll discuss that then. And so he wants. She sends him out to buy something for his dad on his return. He goes and does a little Oliver Twist impression, even though he doesn't actually seem to be poor, but whatever. And so he goes a couple places, tries to get something, can't get anything, ends up at a bakery where he overhears some kids yelling or whatever. Goes around the corner and sees 3 kids bullying this little girl. who is, immediately you can recognize from the orange hair as Nora, except for the fact that it's Nora in dirty raggedy clothes, stealing a piece of bread, which turns out to be something.
Real Oliver Twist.
Yeah, so the real Oliver Twist is actually Nora stealing bread, moldy bread out of the trash can to survive, all by herself.
Is it really stealing?
Whatever. They said stealing, but I mean,
So yeah,
everybody was
It's
all excited
recycling.
Everybody was all talking about the cuteness of Baby Ren. I was not prepared for the feels of Baby Nora there.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
it's
she's
like
so goddamn cute.
Yeah, it was nuts. So
They both
obviously, there's tons to talk about there already.
That is the tagline
the
of this
kid-
episode is, oh my god,
Yeah.
they're so goddamn cute.
Oh, the cuteness in this episode. Not even. I mean, I'm the Renora shipper here, and I'm not the only one who thinks that shit was cute as fuck. But anyway, so Ren is not only much happier in his life, it seems at this point, he's also a total pussy because he, instead of trying to help her, the kids see him and he kind of runs away and bumps into his dad, aka Hanzo, and falls over. And then Hanzo tells him basically that he is a little pussy and he shouldn't be running away. And so then it cuts back to he says he has to talk to the mayor for a reason we don't really know. It's either about Nora or it would be about the Grim that shows up later. My guess.
Well,
Probably the Grim.
Probably the Grim. Yeah, likely the Grim. And then it cuts back to Jean and Ruby, which I'll get back to High Paradin.
Yeah, we'll save the John and Ruby part until once this breakdown is over. So
Yeah, well, it's just it gives basically Jean gives Ruby a nice pep talk. Essentially, is really all that
Yeah.
happens there. It's a great scene that we definitely have to get into, but
yes,
That's
it's a
really
really
all
good scene.
that's really all it boils down to. But that's basically what happens there. So then we got back to Ren and Nora again. Well, Ren at this point again, and he gets woken up in the middle of the night by his mom, who's in a panic. She takes him says they gotta leave. The dad shows up saying, "Why the heck are you guys still here? We need to go. We need a huntsman." And Ren starts to cry and panic, and the mom says it's going to be okay. And then she gets 86 by the house collapsing on her.
Immediately and instantaneously memed on.
Yeah, exactly. And so then we get Hanzo carrying baby Ren, running away from the Grim, and everybody's screaming and running, and he's clearly injured, so he falls down, revealing he's got like a puncture or some sort of wound in his chest. So he's already basically done for. Ren's obviously still crying, and he doesn't want to leave his dad. His dad convinces him that he's got to go. He says, "Take action, son," which I'm going to meme the shit out of that line with some Ruby Chibi scenes. And he gives him his knife, which we'll talk about the knife.
Which becomes it's oddly shaped like something that's attached to both of his pistols.
Yeah, exactly. And he tells him, "No, you got to go. Your mother and I love you." And he does his Ryoga Wagatiki, shoot a couple arrows at the Grim and then die, basically. And Ren runs away, still in a panic. We get a really good scene of all the Grim and the good shot of the crazy demon Grim, which we obviously have to talk about as well.
Yes.
So,
that's the question.
Quick note that the 50-50 split of was that the bandit symbol or was it a Grim? Well, it was a Grim. It is that creepy demon Grim. And so he's freaking out, and I know people are in disagreement on this because I've seen both. He either uses his semblance or what I think most of us think his aura to calm himself down. Well, obviously you have to talk about that as well at some point. And after seeing Nora crying by herself underneath the house with a Nevermore on top of it about to eat her, and he runs over there, comforts her adorably, much more confident and calm than previously. She gives him the most adorable hug in the history of this show. And then he says it's going to be okay. He tries to leave to grab the little hammer, and she also adorably doesn't want to let him go and tries to grab him. He says it's going to be okay.
Let you go, Jack.
Yeah, he picks up the hammer as Boop's theme plays in the background. Oh my god, my poor Renora heart could barely handle that.
Boop intensifies.
Boop intensifies. Yeah.
For the first time.
Yeah, he gives her the hammer and says, "We'll take care of each other," which is a line that's very related to the previous episode. And So that
Yeah,
basically
And
cuts that-
again in the very next scene, because it,
And in
it
the very
uses
next
that to fade into
yeah.
Rin and Nora going on their pathway towards Mistral, where they run into not the Court of Miracles or the Bandit hideout, as I was suspecting.
Okay.
Or
Look,
the
I'm gonna have
secret
to
tunnel.
stop you. I'm gonna have to stop
Yes.
everyone there for just a second. Okay, from top to bottom, whenever they saw that cave, where you're like, "Oh, hey, this is where the bandits are at." Ballsy.
I wasn't actually thinking bandits because of what we just previously seen in the episode.
Dude.
Yeah, I was still on a Renora High. I'm still on a Renora High, so my first thought was secret tunnel.
Avatar references.
Yeah, Avatar reference. If you guys don't know that, then you should watch Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Avatar Last Airbender.
Yeah,
Season
so
2.
that's what I was thinking. Then I sort of, when they got closer, I sort of started thinking, yes, I did think Bandit Clan. That's what I actually thought, but that was my first thought was not that.
Yeah, I thought that was the Bandit Clan hideout.
I did too. I was freaking hoping for a Court of Miracles scene, like in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
And I'm not afraid to admit it. I totally thought it was the bandits.
Yeah.
And then I also thought the preceding next part was the map coming back to them. But no.
That would have been
Oh,
hilarious.
that would have been amazing.
That would have been hilarious. Balls
Map comes up and just slaps him in the face.
That's what you get for forgetting me. But yeah, Rooster Teeth, I'll have to put my hat on and then take it off for y'all because you played us like a damn fiddle there.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Man.
But
The only
so
reason I thought it would have been the monster thing is it's like they've just spent all that time showing us, oh, it's the monster, yada 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 yada.
No, that's true. It makes sense. But I did think Bandit Clan for a bit. I mean,
Yeah. Which
and they go in there
even-
and find. I mean, I still. We want to talk about this. I'm still not 100% sure what. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I'm not 100% sure what we're supposed to get exactly from that because I don't know if that was some sort of hideout at some point or what. But obviously, the Grim had been there. The footprint was there, and so they walk out and see the trees shuffling, and they can tell that Grim is heading toward Kuroyuri again, which
And
they
then the
know.
blood-curdling scream.
Yeah, which they know is where Ruby and Jean are. Nora and Ren hold hands, also adorable as fuck.
I need someone to make a webm of that whenever they hold hands, it just censors over them holding hands.
And then confirming that High Powered was exactly right about his predictions.
so
The low key couple.
Not the
Yeah.
Loki. Well, the Loki couple thing, I'm still not sure about. But the what you said about what would happen when they went to the top, when they got to the mountain, about them seeing the. Do I have to remind you why you're right, dude? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I said this too, and even though I thought as I was watching this episode, oh, they're gonna end up in the freaking Court of Miracles. Last podcast I talked about how I thought they were gonna go like up to the mountain. Nora was gonna have like a talk with Rin, and then they were gonna look and see the huge Grim in Kuroyuri and be like, "Oh crap, Ruby and Jean are down there. We gotta go." And that Nora was gonna have to give them a pep talk, which might
Still happen,
next time, or next time we see them.
We
Whether
didn't
it's
get
next
the Nora
episode or
confession
the
yet,
finale.
which is the one thing I'm disappointed with this episode, besides the bad voice acting. But we didn't get the Nora confession yet, which I guess I'm okay with because maybe they'll give it more time now. That's something to talk about later, obviously.
I mean, the stuff like the way that like whenever Nora was talking to Ren, like you don't say that to people like okay, you could say that to like close friends and like brothers and sisters, but like the way that like the Ren's face like after
oh yeah, that
Nora
look.
got done
No,
saying-
we're gonna talk about what Nora said and Ren's look. Yes, I have things to say about that as well. So let's save that for when we're already doing our crazy
Yes.
Renora.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know already, that's going to be a long discussion. My soapbox is polished and ready, okay?
All right. But
So
yeah,
let's go back to Oscar then, right?
Let's
Okay.
talk about Oscar first.
Okay,
Not a ton
so
to talk about, but definitely some things to talk about.
media has a headcanon that he must speak.
Oh, I haven't said that yet. Well, okay. I was going to save this for a little bit later. But I think that Hazel might have known Ozpin before he became the Ozpin that we know. Like last time, the last Oscar scene, Osmond said that like it scared him too when he went through the same thing Oscar did. I think that before then, him and Hazel were actually friends.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
In that maybe when Osmond achieved this like higher calling or whatever, he like Hazel felt betrayed or whatever, and that's what led to Hazel joining forces with Salem, because in my head canon, same thing happened to Salem with much older previous version of Ozpin.
Yeah, the question with that though is like, was it like a just friend, or was it like they were like partners, like on a team, or even something?
More likely with
what would Ozpin have done? Like, I don't think just simply walking off would have done anything.
I don't know. I don't
just
know.
A little bit bitter, but going to that extent to join Salem. I see where you're going.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know enough about Hazel's personality for this.
Yeah.
But
he doesn't have too much of a personality yet. That's kind of the thing. Yeah.
He's more like Smash. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
Don't let a small obstacle like this interrupt your path or whatever. He says something along those lines.
Don't let such a small obstacle block your path.
Yeah. But I think that like as far as that goes, like maybe they were partners or maybe they were partners or maybe even like and maybe even saw themselves as like revolutionaries or something. I'm not sure. I'm thinking something more along the lines of kind of like a reverse Naruto Sasuke dynamic. But instead of leaving to join the evil, Ozpin left to basically become the puppet master. Yeah, basically left to become the puppet master behind the curtain.
Yeah, in my mind, they were at one point in time probably on a team.
Yeah, that's probably would be my guess, is they were teammates, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it's just like what did Ozpin do in that previous timeline to get Hazel to act like that, to join that side? Because you just don't join just for the hell of it, unless you're like Tyrion or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like it would have just started his descent into darkness.
He's definitely not the zealot type. This guy.
Yeah,
he's not. He's not the like
much more calculated
type like Cinder.
Yeah. I'm not even sure exactly what his motivation is.
I
wouldn't even go with power hungry. I would go with some sort of revenge motive or something like that.
Well, to me, I will state this for the record. To me,
Ozpin killed Rin. Not our Rin, but Naruto reference again. Kakashi and Obito.
Oh, okay. I get
Hazel is Obito.
But in my mind, Hazel is the lawful evil of the group.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Watts would be like chaotic neutral, maybe.
I would assume Watts is a chaotic neutral or just a lawful neutral.
Yeah.
Or he's the person that just plays for the winning side and then collapses your economy and ruins your credit score and runs off of all the gold so your currency isn't backed by anything.
Yeah, and opens a Swiss bank account, all that stuff.
But
the other thing that I found interesting about this episode was that, because some of the things we were talking about in previous podcasts was speculating on what would get Oscar out of his house and onto his journey, because we knew it was going to happen.
And we don't know. And this is my problem. This is my problem with the Oscar scene. And I said this back in, I think it was episode 7. It was either episode 7 or 8 that we got Oscar last. And I said on that podcast that, and I also said in my review that they don't really have time to do the whole reluctant hero bit. And so I was hoping for them to resolve it next time we saw him. When I said that, I didn't mean off screen before the next time we saw him.
Yeah, that was my big. That was the biggest.
It really renders at least the last time we saw him pointless. So like you could go from the reveal that Ozpin is in his head to this scene, cut out his other 2 scenes, and you lose nothing.
That's actually 100% true. They're unnecessary now. It was kind of a waste of time, and they just wanted to. It was just funny because
Yeah,
we kind of liked the previous scene. We thought it was pretty good overall. I think that was the general consensus on the podcast where we talked about it.
Yeah,
That was
like
a pretty
I
good
just
scene,
I just found
but
it
then
boring
they
because
kind
I've
of-
seen this 1,000 times before.
Threw it under the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but
it makes it
then-
hard to do that because it's like Oscar, like we knew from that previous episode that Oscar did not want to be on that farm for the rest of his life. So he already had a like preconception to leave, but just not like this.
Yeah, so I mean that's really the one thing is that Ozpin was able to motivate him to leave without anything necessary to get him to go. There wasn't a bandit clan attack or anything like that on his home or whatever, which
It
was
wasn't-
one of the things
yeah,
we
like-
thought was possible to happen, but it's
His
not what happened.
his aunt and uncle didn't get vaporized like Luke's did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he could have been like, "Oh, hey, I'm going to Mistral because I need to go get my higher education," something like that.
Yeah, and we didn't even get sort of. I don't think we're ever going to get the exact explanation. I think they think that this was enough. Just the idea that Ozpin was able to just convince him that this is what he has to do and it makes sense or whatever because they are sharing a soul or whatever the hell it is that they're doing right now. They got that Yami and Yugi relationship or whatever. So
Yeah, for now, it's like how much of Ozpin is becoming Oscar, or how much Oscar is the other way.
I mean, it's a little bit of an Avatar sort of thing, except for it's more conscious than that. That's my headcanon for
Or,
this thing is that it's
Na-
more.
Nail, Piccolo, and Kami from Dragon Ball Z abridged.
They're playing Billy
Yeah.
in his head.
That's a
Yes.
good way to put it.
That sounds like a great way to put
Wait,
it. If
I have
know what's going
apps.
on.
Oscar's like, wait, I have apps. I have Minesweeper. Oh, I love
Goddamn.
DBZ abridged so much.
So I mean, other
But,
than that, I don't. Is there that much more to talk about with Oscar?
Actually, I do want to bring up one other thing too. Okay, so
Okay.
is Hazel? Has Hazel? Okay, there's three things that's I feel. Has Hazel spoken to Sienna Kong? Is he
Oh,
on
that's
his way
right.
to speak to Sienna Kong, or has he been tasked with a new mission?
I think New
What
Mission
is-
is going back to report to Salem because it's been weeks.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's do the group consensus.
Let's do the
on
group
that one.
consent.
Okay, Ballsy, you're up.
Ballsy, you there?
Let's see. Yeah, I'm here. I think he's probably already seen Sienna Khan, and he's coming back from it. And he's catching a train the other way. Well, yeah.
I'm going with he has seen Sienna Khan already, and he's probably moved on to a new mission. That's my guess because my idea or headcanon is that wherever Salem is not that close to Mistral. So I'm going with he's still heading back. He's got something new to do, or he's just maybe not a directive from Salem specifically, but he's got something else to do and is heading toward Mistral as well, or something like that.
For me, I feel that I don't know, man. It's a toss-up. Part of me wants to think he's still on his way to talk to Sienna Khan, or he's on a new mission. I'm leaning more towards he's on a new mission, though.
Yeah, I am full on. He's already spoken with Sienna Khan. And he's
And I'm of the same mind.
and he's heading back to Salem.
As much as I would like to see if the Sienna Khan was a male or female, I'm gonna have to say yes. He's probably already seen them.
Yeah,
All right. Well, that basically wraps up the
Oscar.
Oscar bit. But yeah, that is kind of frustrating. Where just Oscar's like, "Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye."
Yeah, it's a little frustrating. The scene itself wasn't bad. It was just what they skipped is the problem.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to grouch about Oscar in my review,
Ayo!
and that's
was
exactly how I'm going to segue into it.
That was good.
I
That was
see the
very
image
good.
already. I see the image already.
Yes,
Yep, that
you
was
guys
very
know me
good.
too well.
Yeah, that was good.
So,
Alright.
are we going to talk about the flashback next?
No, I think we should say that. I mean, my vote is obviously to say that all that stuff to left.
Let's talk about the Ruby and
Yeah, I think Ruby and John, because that's also pretty quick. It's a good scene, but it's not super.
Oh my god!
long.
Again, like the whole tagline of this episode is, "Oh my god, they're so goddamn cute." Oh, yes.
Actually, you could also just put for this episode, shipping intensifies, because that's very
well,
accurate.
yeah. But oh my goodness,
Well, it's just like small scenes like this that make me love Lancaster so much.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say straight up, when I joined this group, and Media and I were some of the first people here, along with High Powered, and we were talking, and I remember specifically saying, like, I don't really like Lancaster all that much, and Media gave some really great examples and explanation to why he likes Lancaster. And after what he said, I was like, shit, I actually don't hate this ship anymore. Just from that one explanation that you gave, I kind of don't hate it anymore. And after this scene, it's basically exactly what he was predicting / wanted to have happen for them. And I am now shipping Lancaster officially. So I did a complete 180 thanks to Media and this episode.
Congratulations.
I am. I'm what this scene. I ship Lancaster now.
One of us.
Yeah. I am now a Lancaster shipper.
This is Miles' plan all along.
Yeah,
it probably was.
Miles wanted to make a story where he could have his character
make out with Michael's wife.
Wait, no, that just reminds me of his Twitter post where it's like he's holding it's like the volume 4 review design and stuff like that. It's like, hey, she's still only like 16.
Yeah,
I've got that image in podcast chat.
So I immortalized this on the Team Theory Facebook page, but it's my thoughts on It's basically my thoughts on Lancaster. I'm gonna read it for you guys. I know you guys have already read it, and I've shared it with you before.
This is what convinced me. But
yes.
If this is what convinced me, so this is worth reading then.
Yes. So the whole appeal of Lancaster is how natural it feels, and how much chemistry Ruby and Jean have, to the point where they'd be just as likely to become roommates and eventually sleep with each other without even bothering with the formalities of declaring a relationship, as adults, of course. As I've said, Lancaster feels like the best friends become lovers type relationship. They have a lot in common. They were both the outsiders of Beacon, questioning whether they even deserved to be there. They probably studied together for that reason. They are also just really open with each other and actually tell each other about how they feel in situations. Hallway pep talk scene, and now this episode.
This episode, big time. Yep.
Well, yeah, freaking Ruby gave John the pep talk.
Yeah.
Now John got his pep.
Yep.
John gave Ruby the pep talk.
And that's probably just how they're gonna the writers are going to rationalize it, is that it's like, oh, we're doing the kind of role reversal from Volume 1. They're also the two characters with the clearest motivation, with the best reason to do what they do. No other character who has revealed their motivation needs to become a huntsman to fulfill their goals.
Except for Ren now, actually.
Well, yeah. Well, again, like I made this post.
Yeah.
I don't know when I first made it. I probably first made it in late October, but I immortalized it on November 7th.
Yeah, because I saw it months ago, and that's when I saw it too. That's what convinced me of
this post was originally on the Team Theory First chat before we officially became a Discord.
Yeah, I remember those days.
I remember that too.
Discord.
Yeah, that was really smart. I mean, this podcast might not exist if you hadn't switched over to Discord.
Best thing ever.
Yeah, so.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree. The chemistry between those two characters is good. Also, they just work. They foil really well against each other because Ruby still has that very idealistic sort of mentality, while John seems to be pretty.
Oh my god, she is so selfless. She's like just so selfless and just going full on freaking hero mode, like taking pity on Jean when, as Jean points out, like Ruby's lost way more than Jean did. Jean lost Pyrrha and pretty much nothing else.
And was he even in love with Pyrrha? Was he even in love with Pyrrha?
That was a question I posed.
She lost Pyrrha the same amount that everybody. To me, in my mind, he lost Pyrrha only the same amount that everybody else did. He just has a bit more of a guilt complex because he realized that she loved him and
also the fact that in episode 8 of this volume, he realized, oh shit, I sent her to her doom because I said yes, go for your dreams.
Yeah, so it's more of a guilt complex than really he lost his girlfriend.
Yeah,
Or
not only
whatever.
that, but I mean, he probably feels guilty about not blocking the arrow. Not his fault. It would have bent around him anyway. But
Yeah,
Jean
exactly.
doesn't know. Jean doesn't know that.
Yeah, it's sorry to the Arco shippers,
Yes.
but that ship never actually was confirmed. Just because Pyrrha kissed Jean doesn't actually mean that the ship itself set sail. It's a two-way street. So that's my
Wait,
opinion.
I never
at least.
told her that I didn't.
Yeah, I do feel like Jean was on his way there though. And that's
Yeah,
and that's
but-
as a hardcore Lancaster shipper. Yeah, Jean was definitely on his way there. And then
Yeah,
she
I
took,
agree with that,
the
but
and then she took an
wasn't
arrow
the
to the
big
chest.
she took an arrow to the chest, but it wasn't setting
creepy
sail the
chat.
way that a lot of the Arco shippers say it did. I guess is my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, John was really close to it. Like he was just there.
Yeah, he was getting there. She was already balls deep. I mean, she was too far.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I could actually probably go
She
on
couldn't
about
pull
like
herself
just
off.
yeah, I could actually probably go on about how actually kind of great Pyrrha's arc was in Volume
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
It's like the best part of that episode, the episode 8 of last volume, was freaking dramatic irony. Ozpin tells Pyrrha to follow her dreams and not let anything get in her way, not knowing that he's what's standing in her way.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, back
It
to
hurts.
Lancaster. So there was a good. I mean, it's a really well done speech from Jean, basically returning the favor to what the speech that she gave him in, I believe it was Volume 1, correct?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
That was Volume 1, right?
It was.
Okay.
That
It was
that
either.
the yup speech.
I think it was Forever Fall Part 1. It might have been
Yeah.
Jaundice Part 2, but it was.
It
one of
was the
those.
Literally
only good
best
part of
the bully arc.
of the shitty Jean arc. It was the one
Well,
redeeming
there's
part of the Jean arc.
there's another redeeming part, which was the Oobleck classroom scene doing world building, right?
Okay, that's true. That's true. But yeah, the actual Jean arc itself, that was the only good part of
Yeah.
it. So
All right, let's get this back on talk.
Yes.
Yeah, back to the whole thing. It's like well, there's that whole Lancaster thing, and then but unfortunately they have not found any medical supplies. Crow is still kind of out of order.
Dying.
Yes,
Yeah, still dying.
Crow will
Dying.
have to be fixed in some way, shape, or form. We have no clue how. My bet's still on that Raven and Bandit Clan will show up to save the day.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that too.
Mainly because I want more Raven.
Yeah, now you got freaking the Boss Grim coming to wreck their stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be. We're gonna refer to that Grim as Boss Grim until it has an official name.
Well,
Well,
I'll probably call it the Nukalavi.
Oh, yeah,
because
that's
scary
it's,
as fuck demon grim.
yeah, because
That's
that's
yeah.
for it right now.
yeah, that is
Well, my
obviously
question-
like kind of
Yeah.
at least from the outline, that's kind of what they're looking
my
at.
first idea, yes, like when the episode came out, was the Irish Dullahan, but now doing a bit more research, there's the Nakalivi or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Actually, the high power, if what I'm thinking of is correct, then we might see the bandits because because if we don't know if it's a trophy hunter, like it just collects the items that are getting.
Oh no,
get
I
stabbed to it.
assume.
'Cause
I
there was a lot of blood there. It's like was that was that fresh blood?
No.
Was that?
Oh my god, what if that was the bandit hideout and they
Like
just
it
got
was.
wrecked by the Grim?
Well, that's what I thought. That's what I'm
some of the
thinking.
bandits.
Yeah,
were
that's what I
away.
thought too. But I'm sitting there.
That's
It's
what I
like,
thought it was.
but the Spring Maiden and
yeah,
Raven.
I don't think the
Well, it doesn't mean
Nuklavi
they
would-
all died. It doesn't mean they all died necessarily.
It means it was probably just a small tangent of the
Yeah.
of the bandit clan. There's some survivors and they're running the hell away from this thing. That's
Yeah.
why it's heading towards Kiriyuri. So we might see like a meetup with the bandits. We might. It's
I'd-
just the whole
I'd
question
like
of whether
that.
that was fresh. If that was fresh blood or if that was just staying there.
Yeah, I think it was staying
Or
there.
like
I- yeah.
Grim Goo.
I do have a timeline theory on this, and I'll get to it when we talk about the flashback.
Which we're actually like basically about to start talking about the flashback, unless anyone
Yeah.
has anything else to say.
No, not much.
No.
Yep. Kudo
My
Yuri.
soapbox,
Potatoes.
my soapbox is ready.
All right, I mean, I'm just gonna hand it off to Dude. So
Thank you.
I'm gonna go tip my fedora. I'll be back.
I'll be back as well.
He knows I'll talk long enough about this shit that by the time he gets back, he won't have missed anything anyway.
I have wireless headphones.
I mean, do we want to talk any more about the shitty voice acting, or have we really just covered that?
We've
No,
already said it. I'm
it's
pretty
just
sure
it's
the
just
listeners will probably
kids.
say
Yeah,
it's
it's
child
just
voice
kids
actors.
voice
It's
actors.
child voice acting. You can't decide if he's Asian or British, and it didn't really work out. And so everybody knows that. Even I noticed that, as happy as I was with everything else, that I noticed that as well. And there's not much to talk about that. We see Ren. Ren is the interesting thing I thought about Ren first was that he, as a kid, is exactly the opposite of how he is now in a lot of ways. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. I would do the up and down thing, the top to bottom thing, but two people are out right now. But I mean, just the thing that seems very happy-go-lucky, even sarcastic. He actually makes a joke to his mom. We have literally never seen Ren make a joke in the entire 4 seasons. We've almost got entire 4 seasons.
I mean, Nora probably took that away from him.
Yeah, I mean the jokes that he makes are jokes that he's a part of with Nora. Though he actually made a quip to his mom as a kid, which I don't personally. I've never seen him do something like that. He's very happy-go-lucky, and he's kind of a little wimp. Not even kind of. He's a little bitch.
Yeah, that part didn't surprise me.
No, that didn't surprise me either. But I'm just saying it is true that he's very much the opposite of how he is now.
If you look at him, Badass Ninja, and you look at his younger son,
you look at
Badass you're a precious little flower child.
Yeah, he's just a little precious flower child when he's a little kid. It's very interesting, to the point where I was very upset for a couple of minutes because I'm like, Ren, why didn't you save Nora, you little bitch? You suck. Why did you help her? I'm so mad at you. And then obviously he does later on, but, I'm not going to start my soapbox just yet because I think I'd like to talk about just what happens, and that way we can talk about the Grimm first.
Yeah.
And then I can have just a clean run at my soapbox for the actual Renora discussion. Because what happens after they see Nora is you get Hanzo, Ren's dad, which I think his real name is Lee, but his name is
Lee.
I'm just going to call him Hanzo.
Which is a Overwatch thing.
He's literally just Hanzo. If you guys haven't seen Overwatch, and I think a lot of people have, just look up Hanzo for Overwatch. And that's what he is. He's Hanzo. So he says that he needs to talk to the mayor, which I think we can assume is about the Grimm, because he's been gone for quite a long time out hunting. He probably saw it or ran into it in some way, and there's some sort of warning going on. And the next time we see them is, Ren's being woken up by his mom, and, they say they need a huntsman. So clearly it's something really, really bad. And it kills his mom by at least crushing the house in on them. And injures his dad to the point where he's running away. He collapses and he's finished. And that's, I guess we can go into what the Grimm is now, because that's it's pretty creepy looking. It's definitely the most badass Grimm we've seen yet.
It's such an obscure creature. The whole general consensus was like, oh, it's probably some sort of nightmare or a minotaur or even a centaur sort of thing, or even a mix between a minotaur and a centaur. What we got was totally out of the blue.
Yeah, it was first.
Anyone who says they called it, stop.
They did not call it.
Yeah,
I'll give Rooster Teeth credit. I'll give the writer. This is better than what I was expecting. This is scarier than what I was expecting, in fairness.
Yeah, this was, especially that cry. I was like, okay, this is creepy.
So what we're talking about is it was first brought to our attention on somebody on the Discord, Toon Radio. He found it. It's called the Nuklavi, which I had heard of before. I just couldn't put my mind to it. And as I was watching the episode, I was like, I know I've seen something like that before, because I used to have a book with mythological creatures on it, and I've used that in my writings several times. And I had this book when I was a kid, and so I was just looking and looking, trying to find it, and then Toon Radio posted it on the Discord that's it. It was the Nuklavi, which it looks like this horse with claws on its front feet, and then coming out of its back is this humanoid top half, so kind of like a centaur, but it's got the full horse, and the body is coming up out of its back, instead of like out of its shoulder. It's a really unsettling looking creature. It comes from Orcadian mythology, which is a subsidiary of Norse mythology, which ties in with Nora.
And it comes out of the water.
It's a water creature that it comes out of the water, has like this nightmare fog, and it snatches people.
And in the episode, there was a nightmare fog as well that came along with it.
Well, I'm not sure if that was like nightmare fog or if it was supposed to just be smoke from the fire.
I hope it was fog, because that
comes out of the fire. If when we see this thing in action, for the finale or next episode, or both, probably both.
Probably both. I'm going to go with both.
If it does spew a nightmare fog, it won't surprise me.
Yeah. So, I mean, hats off to Rooster Teeth for this Grim, because this is definitely the most impressive and like most formidable, scariest Grim we've seen yet. That thing was scary as shit.
All right, one thing I want to talk about the Grim 2 also, because this Grim sets a scary precedent, which was kind of set a little bit in the end of Volume 3 of the Big Dragon Grim.
Yeah. And also with the Baringal Grim in the character short for Volume 4.
The precedent...
I've already been yelled at about that. It's not canon, apparently.
Still, it proves that the Grim can actually be smart.
Technically, it's canon, but it has absolutely no relevance to the plot, so until they make a reference to it in series, I'm looking at it as
non-canon.
Yeah,
I think that was the character short for the Grim saying, "Hey, the Grim can actually be smart, guys."
Because like the events of all the other trailers, except I think the red trailer, but the red trailer was much more of a just a proof of concept. But all the other, but like the white, black, and yellow trailers have had events that have actually been talked about and brought up, and have had impact in the main story.
But yes, I will now speak shortly of the scary precedent that this Grim sets. So this Grim obviously has some level of intelligence. It collects trophies. Whenever I saw that cave, seemingly, it collects trophies.
It just picks out the weapons from inside it and puts.
Well, it also had the little banner from the one destroyed town too. Also, they ran into in episode 2.
That's true.
So, now actually, that episode actually seems to make more sense now because of this episode. It almost
just makes sense. It's more relevant. Like that was a good episode when it came out, but as this volume has went on, it's like, okay, so that the episode 2 doesn't. Episode 2 doesn't matter. Like we haven't had anything about like RWBY's nightmares. The concert with Weiss was done fast to where it's like we didn't even really need the kind of setup we got for it in Remembrance. But now it's like, okay, so the whole Shion Village thing actually does matter, and it leads to all this going on.
Yeah, immediately you said that was like the first time like the Miles Carey have done like actually and the RWBY style they have done this.
Yeah, the first time that they've actually brought a seemingly irrelevant plot line back in a meaningful way.
Bigger than ever.
Long after the fact, like they've done it.
I'll give them credit for that. That's impressive, actually, for them. That's not happened, as we mentioned. That's one of the things that makes this Grim so good.
I just want to see.
It's like they actually thought this volume out all the way through before they started writing.
Yeah, exactly.
For the next couple volumes, because everything that's happened so far in the series, it's going to be pushing that close all ties up by the end of episode 12.
I mean, with this thing being so formidable, I have a slight thought that I wonder if it doesn't even get finished by the end of this volume.
I think it will. We'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get to the theory bits.
Yeah, there's an outside possibility it won't, but
I'm thinking they might actually run away from this Grim, like distracted enough, and then run the hell out of there.
Getting away.
I don't think RWBY will.
I don't see RWBY doing it. I could see her getting dragged away.
Yeah.
But I also see at this point that this volume has been so Ren-centric in some ways now.
RWBY's weapon gets broken, and she takes up...
No! Oh, that would be badass. I'd actually, go for that.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, that's the thing, though, too, also. So I want to say it takes trophies because, Ren sees his dad's arrow just chilling there. And there's also
Yeah,
just a
okay,
bunch
Okay,
of other
so
swords,
that
too,
yeah,
also.
that actually brings me to what my hypothesis was, which so timeline here, and I'll use this to kind of segue us back on track with the flashback, okay, so Lee Ren's papa, his dad, whatever, Hanzo.
Hanzo.
He is helping with Ani-Yuri. Ani-Yuri gets attacked before it's finished by the Nuklavi. Lee goes back home to Kudo-Yuri to warn the mayor. That night or sometime in the near future, they send a hunting party to find this Grim. They wander into its lair, get wiped out, except like a couple of them make it back wounded or whatever to like warn the people of Kudo-Yuri, but it's too late. The Nuklavis follows them. Other Grim get attracted. We see Nevermores in the flashback as well. And that's how like just that town got wrecked.
Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable in my book.
Seems
Also,
plausible,
that Grim has a pretty big range too, as of what Nora mentions. Like the town that they ran into first was like a 2 to 3 week hike from where they were at currently. So I mean, it's got a pretty big range. So basically, any town that's in that area could potentially fall under threat of that.
I don't
Grim.
see that Grim stopping to sleep. He's just going to continuously trudge along at a slow.
Yeah, I think.
But it has like a place that returns to because that's what it looks like. Because it feels like because all that black glue on the ground, I'm just gonna call it like blood or whatever, just Grim goop. Like it feels like it's like fought and it's been like injured, but it's just survived.
He got it.
So it'll go back there and like sit and lick its wounds for just a little bit and then come back.
Yeah. And we know this thing can take on pro huntsmen.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
And what question I have is, if it is just wandering so close to Mistral, why hasn't Mistral done anything about it?
Maybe
I mean, it's hard to get
tried.
someone to like come out and solve something whenever there's no survivors. So I mean,
or it's probably a tie back to what Crow said in episode 8. They know Salem's group is coming for Haven next, so they have to prepare their defenses.
Well, no, I'm talking about like in the years and years since freaking whatever happened to Kudo-Yuri.
Yeah. Well, because here's the question: how old do you think Ren and Nora were in this scene, in the flashback scene?
At least 5 or 6.
I was going with 6 to 8
I was going.
They're not 10. They're younger than 10.
Definitely under 10.
Between 5 to 10 years old. Well,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
A good around 8 years old.
I'm going 6 to 8 is my that's what I think.
Yeah,
pretty young. Younger than I was.
I'll stick at that 6 to 8 estimation.
Yeah. Pretty young.
68 years old.
So about the same age that Yang was when Summer Rose died. Coincidence? Yeah. Probably.
I think not.
Coincidence, probably.
Miles and Carrie are actually planning shit. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Good for them.
Or maybe they were in the whole beginning, and it's just they needed the budget to do it.
Well, let's hope that's the answer. So yeah, I mean that Grim's scary. Taking that thing down I don't know what it's going to require. I mean, I honestly think it would require RWBY to go Silver-Eyed Warrior Super Saiyan on it.
Yeah.
John's semblance.
And I could certainly see why it would be a little more restless now because of like what Sun was saying, like the Grim are getting worse or whatever with Salem's actions and more widespread panic. So for all we know, it could have been like slumbering for these last 10 years or however long. But still, like, why hadn't it been found? And I mean, Nora and Ren basically just freaking trip and fall into its lair. Why did it?
It was on the path. It was literally on the path.
Okay, here's the thing, though. I gotta ask a question. So, does Raven and Bandit Company know, like, that sort of Grim is like in that area?
Probably,
and they just don't care.
They have to. Yeah, exactly. They probably. don't know how powerful it or how dangerous it is. They're probably
Because
aware of
I mean, they get. It's been said that they get out of there before the Grim even show up.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure they can like one or two. Like it's fine.
This is true.
They're probably aware it exists, but they aren't aware of the gravity of what it is.
They know it's a fight, not to pick.
Yeah, and speaking of the gravity, I think you know where high power is going with this. Like if it's a group like this is getting to such a like apex level and of not only strength but intelligence.
It is an apex level
like even just
Grim
in the future. What are you saying? Are you saying it's like on the level of Kevin?
Which one's Kevin? Is that the dragon?
The dragon.
Yeah,
Kevin's the dragon.
The failed dragon.
I mean, as in powers and ability, no, but like probably intelligence, I would say, yeah. It's that Grim. It's the Grim that we have right now. That is an apex level predator Grim. It's been around for a long time. It's done a lot of stuff, and it's survived. And it's probably been around so long that it's probably formed like habits or something. As I said earlier, like the fact that it takes trophies, in my mind, is a clear indication of intelligence. Also, too, with like animals in general, like for example, like cougars and like bears, animals like that, they generally have a very large territory and they'll actually roam quite far. But they all generally will have like a place that they go back home to, like at the end of the day. So, I mean, it may be like animalistic though, but the fact that it like collects stuff from whenever it goes out and does things, I mean, it sells it to me at least that it has some form of intelligence.
Yeah, I'd say intelligence. It might even be beyond Kevin.
No, I get that.
I mean, Kevin the dragon got controlled by.
I get that. I just mean like in the Grim in the future.
The dragon Grim was actually.
I wouldn't say
controllable by Cinder, so take that into consideration, I guess.
Yeah, but who knows how much of Salem had that in that part.
Okay, yeah, let's put this to the group consensus. So, how intelligent do you think this Grim is? Okay, Ballzy, you first.
Very.
Yeah, I'm going. This is definitely. I would guess this one right here is more intelligent than Kevin. I'd say it's the most intelligent we've seen in it. The thing that I love about this Grim, yeah, I think I'd say it's more intelligent than that as well. I think the thing that makes me really the most excited about this Grim actually is for things that are far in the future. Because I'm going on a little tangent here, but I still feel it's relevant.
No, that's fine. I was going to say something over on the similar lines.
So the thing is, I've always been worried about the show that Salem is the only big bad of the entire show, and that's what, if we get hopefully 12 to 15 seasons of this show, as we're getting with Red vs. Blue, which considering how well the fandom's growing in this show, it's possible we'll get that. I don't want Salem to be the only big bad. I would like something else. With this Grim showing how intelligent and just the gravity of this Grim, I could see that opens up the idea of maybe some sort of the Grim actually being the bigger bad, or some sort of Grim being a bigger bad even than Salem, because that's really what they've that's what I always thought it should be, considering what this show is, how they built the world, as however poorly they did. So I think, yes, this is the most intelligent Grim we've seen so far, but it makes me excited that we could see something even scarier and even more intelligent than this Grim for future seasons.
Oh yeah, I'm already imagining it. I'm going, oh shit.
Yeah, for me, I just like the precedent that it sets up, that they're just like, if a Grim can survive long enough, and like for me, it feels like this Grim too, like, because whenever you see its silhouette, like it's got like arrows and stuff stuck in its back, so like it feels like it, it's been injured, and then it was smart to realize it was
like. Oh, sorry.
Because for me, like. It looks like, it was injured, and it was smart enough to realize, hey, I'm gonna die. Maybe I should fall back and lick my wounds and try again. So, I mean, that to me is another indicator of its level of intelligence. Like, it would be interesting in my mind to see like its whoever, be it Team Ranger or like the Bandit Clan, shows up to help them out. Like it's like, oh, there's too many people here. Time to book it.
I'm not so sure about the intelligence of this Grimm. I mean, we've got no reason to say otherwise, but just
presence
this
brings all the Grimm.
Well, panic brings more Grimm.
Yeah. But
and Grimm bring panic.
What if its presence, like it can, it has that kind of level of fear around?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, we haven't even really seen this thing yet. We've only seen its.
No, we haven't.
We've only seen its silhouette and like its feet, and.
Yeah, we have a lot of we have to hold our judgment. This is just speculation.
Yeah, we're making assumptions for sure right here.
Yeah.
True.
So, one thing that we haven't addressed about the flashback yet, something I want, from the fandom, is I want fan art of Baby Nora and Baby Ren, with Baby Nora holding the wooden hammer and like touching Ren's face with it and going boop.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, please.
My heart, just stop breathing. I'm about to die.
Yep. I need that. I need that so much.
Cuteness overload.
Now. Cuteness overload. So, does that mean we're queuing into soapbox time for me, and we're going into the Nora shit now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to hand it off.
All right. So, actually, first thing is I have a question for everybody, and this is not just to brag about my headcanon being correct. But I have a point with this. What did you guys actually think before this episode? Did you think was Ren and Nora's backstory? And if it was more separate, what did you actually think individually what their backstory was?
Ballzy, you get to go first.
I'm thinking.
All right.
I really, I didn't really think about their backstory that much, really.
Okay, I'm gonna go last. I'm going to go last, so High Power, can you go next?
I mean, for me, it was basically the way I had it in my mind was like, so like Ren became an orphan, and then Nora was at the orphanage that Ren went to, and that's how they met, basically. That's how it was. That's how it played out in my mind, at least. But from now, what it seems like they actually spent a whole lot more time together. Because I was of the opinion that, like, the time they were together was nowhere near as long as what we thought it was. So, but then that's been proven wrong, where they've been together for a good chunk of time at least.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm with you on that. And it was in episode 6 where it's like, wait, how long have they known each other? Because Ren knew what Aniyuri was and Nora didn't. But upon further thought, there was actually reasons on that, and I made a text. I did a text quote in my review saying, like, on second thought, hey, Ren only knew Aniyuri by name, so it could just be he knew more about it growing up than Nora did, whereas Nora wouldn't have heard anything like that. And that makes sense, seeing what we have seen in this episode. Ren's father was probably at Aniyuri, and Nora was already a street urchin when all that was going on, so... what I thought their backstory was, and what I've thought it was for ever since the beginning of Volume 3, is that they were orphaned separately on separate occasions, and then met at the orphanage. And for whatever reasons, they just got along, and as they switched orphanages, then started going to school, then started going to combat school, then started going to Beacon. Like, somehow they've always ended up together.
All right, so Sock?
To be honest, on one hand, before like the Volume 3 reveal popped up, I didn't even think about it, because you just see Ren and you see Nora and you're just like, Renora. Like, it just clicked in my head that those two were together. Like, they just kind of grew up together. Like, Ren was like the son of a dojo runner or something like that, and Nora was just one of the hyperactive kids that wanted to be a hero. And then the Volume 3 reveal popped up, and I'm sitting here just like, okay, well, there's there's obviously something here, but to an extent of what and what happened to them and what actually were they? And this episode actually answered quite a few questions.
All right, so this was, and part of the big reason there's so many reasons I love this episode. It's not the best RWBY episode ever, but it's by far and away my favorite ever right now.
I actually think it's pretty close to the best.
It is pretty close to the best. But my point is I don't even care if it's the best. It's my favorite.
Pretty damn good.
It is really quite a great episode.
It's very good, but it's not pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's great. I always worry that I'm so biased toward Renora. If you guys didn't already know that, I'm talking about people listening. You all here know that, but people that aren't, I'm so clouded into Renora that like I worry that I think this episode's great just because I love them. So the point is, part of the reason why this episode I loved it so much was, and High Powered mentioned this as soon as he got on yesterday when we were talking. This was exactly my headcanon. Almost exactly my headcanon. To a point where it scared me a little bit, because my headcanon was pretty much exactly this. And my headcanon was hopeful for their relationship. Like, I wanted them to have the most tragic backstory, the most amount of time possible together, the most reliance on each other possible, and all that sort of thing. My headcanon was exactly this. Nora was a street urchin. Ren saved her. As little kids, Nora was picked on, all that kind of shit, all that really dark. I called this several times that Nora has by far the most tragic backstory out of any of the important characters in the show. And I was exactly right. And that makes me so happy. The funny thing is, this was a headcanon that most people never heard, because to me, that was too optimistic. And I never actually thought the writers would do that. What I thought was much more along the lines of what Media and High Powered said, was that they met while already orphaned and a little bit older than this, probably around 12 years old or something like that, and had been friends and then just became friends. This changes a lot and makes, the thing is, if you listen to like the lyrics of Boop, if you really read into what Nora says in the beginning of the show, this actually makes sense. It's just, I didn't want to be too hopeful that this is actually what happened, that they were this important to each other. And I guess that's what was so important. Like, everybody was all excited about, oh, baby Ren, he's so cute. And I was like, I remember I was talking to several people like, oh, I hope we get to see baby Nora. I hope we get to see baby Nora. But I just thought it'd be like something along the lines of either they knew each other when they both had parents and again, lost their parents older, or they met while already orphaned. And instead we get this, which was Nora had nothing. I wanted this. I didn't expect this, that Nora was a street urchin, all by herself, having to steal bread out of the gutter, or steal bread out of the trash just to survive. Like that, like, damn, the feels with baby Nora, I was not prepared for that. That was I was really surprised by that's the route they went. And I was hoping that Ren would be the one to actually save her, and not just like, oh, his parents took me in or something like that. That was another, I guess, worry I had.
That was something I thought of.
I was thinking about, Ren's parents, or Nora's, one of the two, the parents took them in and took care of them, and that's how they became friends. But this does make more sense concerning what we've seen from Nora and how much they shove Nora down our throats, meaning the writers and Rooster Teeth as a whole. Boop is now definitely completely canon if we didn't already know it was. Yes. This is actually the first time Boop has been used in the show.
Is it?
I believe it is. I mean, they didn't play it.
I'm not about to freaking binge watch volumes 2 and 3 to confirm that.
I mean,
at least it's not difficult to binge watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to binge watch the entire series before the final episode of the season, just so you guys know. That's going to be a 12-hour marathon for me.
Yeah, but when that started playing, I was like, oh my god, I need fan art.
Oh my god,
I need Boop fan art of that moment, like, right now.
Yeah, so it's just one of the biggest things for me, and we can discuss it more what everybody else thinks as well, but because I do have more to say, I'll lose my organization if I keep going, but this was everything I could have possibly hoped for a Renora backstory. I mean, that is exactly my crazily, overly optimistic headcanon was confirmed. Like, if you think this is literally my OTP from any show, any book, any fictional work, this was exactly what I could have hoped for. Like, they are that important to each other that they had, like, that Ren saved Nora, which I mean, we could argue that, but I think that what he did with his aura or semblance or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we'll get to that next.
That saved her. And they are that important to each other that they met with nothing together, and they literally like raised each other essentially, because they're also younger than I was expecting as well. Though they're even younger than even my headcanon was expecting them to be. They're like 6 to 8 here. They're not even like 10. They're kids, like little kids, and I don't know where they go after this. That's another thing we'll have to talk about is, do we get more backstory on what happens to them after this? But, I mean, they're literally completely alone, and that is how they met with each other, and that's pretty crazy, and it was very well done, obviously.
Well, dude, now that you said that, it's like, since they had to rely on each other so much, it's like, like perhaps like the first time they had to like try and cook, it's like they found out Nora really couldn't cook, so Ren did it, and the first thing they made was pancakes, and that would, Nora hadn't really had fresh food before then, so her like first like actual like home cooked meal since her parents had obviously died or abandoned her was pancakes.
Oh my god, that is so sad / adorable as fuck. Oh my god,
that's just my headcanon.
No, that's very likely possible because pancakes.
Oh my god, I might have to do
thing.
That as a fan fiction. I might have to do that as a one shot.
God, if that's, I would read the fuck out of that. By the way, oh my god, I think you might be right, dude. That's crazy because that is a very, very simple thing to make, and that would actually make sense. And, that was another part of my headcanon too, is that Nora had the most tragic backstory, and her bubbliness, her energy, and her happiness that's another thing we could talk about. Is it a coping mechanism, or is it genuine joy for just having Ren?
I wanted to be the latter. I wanted to be the latter.
I want it to be the latter as well. But I genuinely think it is, because, and this is another thing to point out, is that you notice how much more afraid or not necessarily afraid, but how much more reluctant,
deeply
Ren
concerned.
Deeply concerned Ren is about Kuroyuri and all of that, whereas Nora, she notices, but it doesn't bother her, and that is really interesting. That because Ren sees it as losing his family.
Yeah, Ren sees it as the death of his innocence, whereas Nora sees it as like the start of her joy.
Yeah, the start of her life.
Because she has nothing but bad memories there, whereas Ren's just got the one bad memory and then a bunch of good ones to make that are soured by that one bad memory.
For Nora, as scary as the Grimm is, I think honestly that Grimm, it's very, I don't know how much they want to explore this, but there's a slightly scary, almost resentment possibility where, because Ren is happy with Nora, but he lost his family, and Nora's almost, I don't want to say like a fallback, but in a way, like that's what he had afterwards. But Nora's
the only family he has at this point.
That Grimm, though, for Nora is like, that saved her life in a way, almost, because she was a street urchin before, and that Grimm destroying that town and killing Ren's parents was what gave her entire life, essentially. And that's a really interesting thing.
Every cloud has a silver lining.
Yeah, yep. and they must be aware of that. But that is
just, just
they're
like
obviously aware of it though, because she isn't as she knows she was in Kuroyuri, which we didn't know before. She didn't it wasn't Ren telling her about it. She was there, but the difference is that the writers are keenly aware of the fact that it's almost a happy memory for Nora, I think, because of what she got out of it. Versus for Ren, which is, it's mostly a bad memory.
Yeah. Every cloud has a silver lining, just like every sunken Arco shipper becomes a Lancaster shipper.
Except
for ravioli.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. The comment section, I swear.
I wish the comment section in our podcast would be bigger. But
if only. One day. We just keep swimming. We'll just keep swimming, and it'll get there.
So Ren unlocks his aura. Should we talk about that?
Yes, we should, because some people
Ren's aura is very. It's vague.
Well, that's the thing. Toon is still saying in chat that it's his semblance and not his aura. And I know he's not the only one. I know there's going to be other I honestly, my guess, because here's the thing, guys, we're always in the minority. Most of us are either Bumblebee shippers and stuff like that, and we seem to know more. We seem to guess things way more correctly than most people. Not to brag, but we kind of do.
Because we
And
know story plot.
I even have a freaking skit for it.
yeah, and the thing is, if I had to guess, people come next week when the spoiler bans are this week when the spoiler bans are lifted, I will guess that at least 75% of the people are going to say it's his semblance and not his aura. But I think most of us seem to think that it's actually just his aura and not his full semblance.
See, I think it's somewhere like in between there. And okay, so
A little bit of both.
if it is his semblance, my biggest gripe would be, okay, what does that have to do with his personality? And what does that have to do with the lesson? Like the whole lesson of this episode, his father's dying words were "take action."
Which, by the way, who's gonna put that in that Chibi skit, please, for me as a meme?
Look forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that has to happen. The one where Nora's saying "Notice me" with a sign
Yes.
after, and yeah, I just want,
If only.
Nina just shows up with a take action sign.
I want take action son written over that. That'd be amazing.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
So-
I had to put that out though.
So semblance is supposed to be tied to their personality. That's how it was introduced, and that's how it was portrayed in Volume 2. Volume 3, they started messing with it, I think. Like, they just started giving random people random semblances, like Emerald having illusions. Kinda, I guess, works. Weiss's semblance being hereditary, yeah, maybe that works with the stuff, and I mean, it gets them out of that corner that they wrote themselves into. All semblances are completely unique. Ah, crap, why did we have to write that? We gotta retcon that ASAP. But with this one, I just don't see how being able to hide from the Grimm fits Ren's personality.
I think it's much more of a powerful lesson and scene if it's just him using his aura to calm everyone down. And we know that can happen because Pyrrha used her aura to unlock Jean's aura.
Yeah.
So you could say that that's what Ren's doing here. That would make the most sense, honestly, and it would make the lesson he learned more powerful than just him randomly unlocking his semblance.
Yeah.
And as far as I could see, that was the visual cue they used was along the lines of the new visual cues they're using to show aura in this volume, which I know we already have problems with that, but just keeping at least consistency with this volume, what they used was the aura sort of visual cue.
Yeah, the thing is,
the
the way
little
I view it is like aura is a manifestation of the soul. Semblance is a manifestation of your aura.
Yeah.
You have to it's like you can get your aura, but you have to train in order to really get your semblance thing.
It would also be in line with what we've seen from Ren, as many flaws as he seems to have as a fighter. His aura has been shown to be very strong. The fact that he can hold the fangs of a King Taijutsu with just
it's actually been shown kind of the opposite. Like his aura is actually pretty weak, but he's got a lot of control over it.
Well, that's sorry.
Because he's always like the first to get knocked out of a fight.
Also, the other thing too is I kind of like to how with Crow the big thing for me is I think that people can have semblances / auras because in my mind they're basically the same thing, even though there is a difference. But you could have a semblance that's passive that you don't really have any control over. It just does. If that makes sense.
No, you raise a good point.
Yeah, I see that moment with Rin being this moment of revelation where I have to be calm, I have to be brave, or I'm going to die and that cute redhead is going to die.
Yeah, exactly. So Oh god, the scene with them underneath the building. Oh my god, the cutest fucking scene ever in the show.
I know.
Holy shit. Oh my god, it's so adorable. If you don't ship Renora after this episode, there is something wrong with you.
Well, hold on. I literally have not seen anybody that does not ship Renora.
I've seen a couple. It happens.
Like I've seen people make jokes about like Sugar Rush or what's the one, Martial Arts or Silent Night or whatever it's called.
Some of the martial arts people on Republic are actually serious. That's the thing.
Oh no.
Oh, the martial arts.
Yeah, the martial
Yeah.
arts stuff is a little bit. I mean, honestly, after this episode, martial arts can seriously suck a fat one already. I mean, it already really.
Although there is
but-
more evidence for martial arts than there is, say, Ladybug
Snowbird.
or
Which one's Ladybug again?
Ruby and Blake
Ruby Blake.
or Freezer
I'm
Bird.
telling y'all, the
Just
purest
Weiss and Yang.
ship is Ruby X Crescent Rose. That is the purest ship.
And people are trying to break that ballsy.
It is technically the most confirmed.
I think I just found something along those lines in this.
Oh no, no, don't.
Ballsy, no, not right now, Ballsy, not right now.
That is technically the most confirmed ship is Ruby X Crescent Rose, but I mean,
Yeah, well, Ballsy was talking about breaking Crescent Rose earlier.
No,
Renor-
I'm not.
Oh yeah.
but
But-
Renora's on its way right now. Let's be real. That
Oh
they,
my god. Yes.
I mean, like I said, they took a hardcore Renora shippers hopelessly optimistic headcanon, meaning mine, and made it exactly what happened. Like that is like the most adorable, saddest yet most adorable and cute backstory they could have written for them. I don't see how they could have been more Renora-tastic, that backstory. I really can't.
Yeah, it's like Naruhina if Hinata's parents would have been like wiped out when they were like 5.
But also, Hinata's parents are like, ha ha ha, now my daughter has some of the best genes in the whole ninja world.
Yeah,
Ha
but
ha ha ha.
did-
All
did
according
they know
to
that?
A
Kakayu.
blue.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh my
I just like
goodness.
seeing Ren actually like grow some balls and calm down and go save Noah. I was like, yes, you redeemed yourself from being a little bitch earlier in the episode. And
Also, you might think he might.
Like that.
also, you
That's
might
a that's
think he's
another
taller.
that's another reason why I don't think it's his semblance, is because like. So for everybody who thinks it's his semblance, so you're telling me that as soon as his aura is unlocked, with no training and no experience, he's able to use his semblance and master it to the level to where he's able to extend it to Nora, and yet some year and a half since Jean has unlocked his aura, he still hasn't been able to get his semblance.
yeah, and Ren's not actually that amazing of a fighter, so it's not like you're saying like, oh, he's such a natural. Maybe he can and Jean can't. I wouldn't buy that either.
Yeah, I can totally see like Pura doing
Yeah.
that, like unlocking her aura, be like, "Oh, look, I'm moving spoons."
I think his
I'm
calmness
big
is actually
spoons.
just his form of imitation of his father.
Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah, it could be something like more like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see. I barely even see evidence for it being his semblance, to be honest. Because, like I said, even the visual cue is just this season's aura visual cue.
Not only that, but and again, they're just giving random powers out, and it almost feels like, not so much with this, but definitely with Crow's semblance, that they had a plan. Then they decided they had a plan for the semblance. Then they decided to change it. Because there has been a lot of evidence and indication that Ren's semblance has something to do with perception.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like-
true.
If I had to put money down on the table, that's what I would say. It's a perception-based semblance. But then that's also like I go back to freaking John's semblance. Part of me, like, there's a voice in my head that yells at me in the distance, and it's like they haven't even figured out what John's semblance is going to be. They probably had like a chalkboard of like all the stuff they have written up, and then it's just a bunch of
I'm still
X's
saying
through
that-
most of it.
If it's not Green Lantern-esque, then it's not worth waiting another volume.
No, I'm
They,
with you
they
on that
have
for
to
sure.
show us his semblance, this volume. Other than that, or whatever they like. We're at this point now where we're literally just like, you know what, we don't even care anymore. We could never see his semblance for the entire RWBY franchise at this point. It's like, if they're not going to show us, they're not going to show this. I'm not even waiting for it anymore.
Yeah, just make him a badass swordsman. Just be done with it.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
yeah.
I mean, do we want to still? Is there any much more to talk about the flashback specifically, or do we want to go to the scene afterwards? I guess because I know High Powered and I know High Powered and I have
some sake.
Sake, please.
Yeah, there's some funny moments in there. He tries to buy alcohol. I was like, get the fuck out of here, baby Ren.
Yeah. You're cute, but no, go away.
What does that say about his dad though?
Tools.
Yeah.
His mom says, "Hey, get your dad something he wants." His first guess is weapons, and his second guess is freaking sake.
Man, if I have a kid like that who was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go buy my dad a gun, or I'm gonna go buy my dad some more alcohol. I know he has my genes in me, and that's my kid.
Yep.
Oh no, the concept of me having a kid is terrifying.
This just in: High Powered is Papa Ren.
High Powered, High Powered's Hanzo. I thought you'd have a gun instead of a bow and arrow, but whatever.
Hey, it's the modern day.
I'll eventually own a nice bow. Eventually.
One thing at a time.
So we're under. So we are. I mean, do we all agree basically that what he was doing was using his semblance, or not semblance? Sorry, aura, to calm Nora down as well, and that is what saved her and them together, really, from being eaten by Grimm.
Until further explained, I'm on that.
Not only that, but like none of the Grimm made eye contact with him.
Yeah,
they just couldn't sense their emotions.
Yeah,
they just couldn't sense their fear, and we've been told that it's only negative emotions that the Grimm are attracted to.
Yeah, and I love that because that and so much else from this episode, like I said, makes so much sense now of what we've seen from Ren and Nora so far. Of Ren being now this such a calm and collected and level-headed person with very little emotion. In that's what saved him, and that's what saved Nora, was him being calm and being level-headed. That's why he isn't that little happy-go-lucky kid that he was, and his parents died, but also being that way didn't help anything. Being calm and being collected, that sort of personality, that's what saved his life. That's what saved Nora's life. And this also makes a lot more sense of Nora's very obvious feelings for Ren. The fact that he saved her life, the fact that he was basically the beginning of her life in the first place, but then he also literally saved her life. So it sort of makes a lot of sense of that as well. What the opening lyrics of Boop, this makes me so sure now that
Never
Jeff Williams was
a time
when you weren't by my side.
Yes.
The one thing I could always count on, always there for me. You've been my family. I thought that was figurative. That is not figurative. That's literal. Even when all other hope was gone, could literally refer to.
Yeah, that is literally when they're under that house.
That is literally under the house. So Boop is literally canon. And Jeff Williams had to have been given this backstory, and that means they knew this backstory all the way back in season 2, and probably back in volume one as well, given what they do with how obsessed Nora is and with Ren in the first place. It's so obvious from the first scene that with the whole together thing, that is obvious from the very get-go. And I kind of thought, I mean, this was what I wanted, but I was kind of thinking that, maybe it's a little exaggerated. She's just bubbly, which she is, but I mean, this gives so much more meaning to all of that between them and to her feelings. I think so. And it also gives meaning to, I guess that segues into the scene right afterwards from the flashback, because I know High Powered had something to say about this as well. With what Nora and Ren's conversation before they get to the cave.
Oh yeah.
So what did you want to say about this, High Power?
So I feel bad because I can't quote the line directly because I don't remember it. But basically, what Nora says to Ren and Ren's expression.
I've got you here, don't I? That is her expression, and she gives him quite a look. By the way.
Yeah. Well, they've been giving each other looks this entire damn volume,
which we've gone over last couple episodes, and they. My very obvious. Sorry, my bad.
That's no problem. But yeah, like it's really obvious at this point, and I keep on saying,
yeah, Nora's
this.
got double ulterior motives that she wants to get with Rin, and she wants RWBY to get with Jean.
She's just playing super
Like,
matchmaker for the
yeah.
entire team. Entire team.
No, but it's true. Like I pointed this before, and again, I got to stop saying. I always am being cautious, thinking it's just me loving Renora, but the fact that they're always sitting like right next to, they're always taking care of each other rather than helping even the rest of their team, the rest of Team Ranger in the fight with Tyrion and things like that. All the looks they've given each other. It's High Power noticed it too. I wasn't the only one noticing.
It's small
that.
stuff. It's real small stuff.
Until that scene, until on top of the mountain, that was not subtle.
Well, here's the other thing too. Also, I'm kind of glad they're on this new animation system because it would be really hard for those sort of like facial expressions to come across under the old system. Also, here's another thing that we can talk about this at the absolute end, which I feel it's better discussed whenever this volume's over. But what has Volume 4 done to improve 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, that's something for future podcasts.
Yeah,
it is. But we definitely want to remember that. But this episode improved Renora even in the past to no end. Is ridiculously good for that.
But yeah, so in my mind, there's without a shadow of a doubt they are a couple, albeit a low key couple, but a couple nonetheless. Because I mean, people say that sort of stuff to each other, but that's something like you would hear like brothers and sisters saying each other, family members. I mean, you don't rarely hear like unless they're like a couple, like you don't hear that sort of stuff. I mean, my biggest worry was like the whole Renora ship not happening is that just Ren has spent so much time with Nora that he doesn't see her as like a woman, he just sees her as like his sister, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So somebody posted that in and I shared it to the Discord.
Yeah,
so
there's
like,
actually
like how Nora actually is, and how Ren sees Nora, and how Ren sees Nora still as the little girl.
But yeah, so there's actually it's not a medical condition, but there's like a psychiatric precedent for example, like if a bunch of boys and girls like grow up together, like the chances of like that group of boys and girls that grew up together actually like getting married is very unlikely. I think it's like maybe like 2 out of 10 would actually hook up with any of the other ones in their group. More than likely they're going to go outside of their group. So just interesting psychology, soft science.
Yeah, but your idea is that they are already a couple, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes, my idea is that they already are a couple.
I hope that
and they've been a
for
couple
any
for
abridged, especially like Fat Man followings, because he'll make jokes like this, where there's a part where like Nora like stretches her arms behind her back. I can totally see somebody like dubbing over like, "Oh, my breasts," or like, "Oh, my jacket."
Please see my boobs.
She is pretty busty.
Somebody actually, some girl in Republic actually said that was like having an argument with somebody. Like you guys like somebody's arguing saying that Nora's boobs are at least as big as Yang's, but Winter's are way bigger or something like that. And it was a girl like arguing, like yelling at guys for saying that Yang's boobs were bigger. It was really funny. It's like you guys have no idea how boobs works. I actually have them. Trust me, or something. Like, it was really funny.
Yeah, we need to get some pixel measurements on those.
Yeah,
I mean, they have the
science.
They have the height chart.
Yeah, I think proportionally Neo's actually got them beat.
Yeah,
because she's so short, yet they're
Neo's fucking stacked. But I'll go back just real quick. So, like, I remember I stated this in the last podcast that we did. And it was basically said, it's like, okay, yeah, they're a couple, but it's kind of like if you're dating someone at work, like you kind of want to keep it on the down low so it doesn't affect like, what's going on at work. So, I mean, they're on this mission together and they're a couple and they're probably, even before, like whenever their Team Ranger was still, Team Juniper was still a thing. They probably were like, okay, we got to focus on our school and like all this teamwork stuff because the couple could add negative. Them openly and actively like doing couple stuff could potentially have negative consequences to the team dynamic. Not saying that like Pyrrha or John wouldn't approve. It's just they might like it might affect the decision making process, if that makes sense. You see where I'm coming from?
I see where
that's why I say low key couple.
I always thought that they just need to get over whatever's holding them back and kiss already.
No,
I think
it's not even that. Just one of them needs to climb into the other person's sleeping bag, and then they just need to have sex.
Oh my god, dude! I want Ren and Nora babies so bad it's crazy because they would be hilarious. I want that very much.
I still hold
Yeah.
the low key couple thing because
I know,
they're at that battle festival.
Yeah, I talked to. I think I told you guys this last night. Because you said something about that, dude. But RWBY on Generations, Ren and Nora do have several kids.
Yeah, so
I mean she
yes.
does have childbearing hips.
Yes.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. So I don't agree because, and I don't know if this is really a good proof. Although, does the hand holding at the end kind of help confirm what you're saying too, High Powered?
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, but then Nora probably knows that this is a very difficult time for Ren.
Gotcha.
Because she knows like what happened at that town. So
Yeah.
she's just being there for him.
Gotcha. So with you thinking that, what do you think Ren's look meant then that he gave Nora after she said what she said, like the "I got you here, don't I"?
You see, that's I mean, to me that look almost felt like the toddler Ren kind of came back up to the surface, if that makes sense. That
Gotcha.
kind of like flower child, like happy-go-lucky kid.
Yeah, because it's like a little stare and then a smile at the end of it.
It was such a
No,
quick
yeah,
smile.
it's literally he's sitting there and he's like, "Man, I do have it good, don't I?" That's probably what was running through his head.
That's what you think. Okay, so with this episode and with what happened after the flashback, I can kind of see where you're coming from, although I still disagree. And the two reasons I say that, and they're not really the best, like this is all speculation anyways, but I don't have full-on proof. The two things I'm referring to, though, are Boop and the name of Kuchinashi, which is Secret Love, which would also technically prove yours as well. It's just which way we interpret it. So I guess now that I'm saying this out loud, I realize that could prove either one of our theories, and that is not proof for me at all. So instead, I'm just going to talk about Boop. If with Boop, in my opinion, now definitely being proven canon, and with that means that Jeff Williams was obviously given this backstory and probably everything that will happen to Renora, or at least for a very long time. That means that everything in Boop is actually canon.
Yeah, I mean, I always took the songs as being more canon than some of the episodes.
Yeah, I do too. Well, they've all been. I mean, there's never been a case that I can see so far that the songs have been proven to not be canon. So,
is there okay? Now, I'm talking about the songs canonness, which we're kind of going off track. But is there any? Oh yeah, I understand. Is there any like official statement from like the creators about like how canon the
I thought there was one in one of the
songs
behind the
are.
scenes tracks or something like in one of the.
What about the?
I
the
know
post-credits
in
songs and clips?
particular, Lindsay Jones uses Red Like Roses Part 2 to help get into character.
Yeah.
Which
But I
that's
thought there was
actually like
somewhere else.
really depressing
It
knowing
is.
that, because like,
But
oh my god,
it's
like
cool. Like, good for her,
'cause,
but
like
yeah.
she has to get all chipper and into her childlike voice and stuff, and then she listens to Red Like Roses Part 2 to remind herself like what Ruby's actually gone through, and then she still has to portray both sides of that. And Lindsay Jones is still the best voice actress in this entire series. I wish she'd get a lot more to do this volume, because she owned last volume.
Yeah,
and
no, she's
In my
doing
opinion,
great.
the volumes before that, but volume 3, she really shined.
She did, yeah. I agree with that. Okay, so anyways, with Boop, what I was referring to is if Boop is fully canon, then they're not a couple yet, because Nora has developed these feelings, and some of the way the song is written, I don't know if you want me to quote the whole thing, you probably don't. is that it's from the perspective of somebody that is in love and does not know how the other person feels. One of the one line I will quote is, all these feelings that I'm feeling, I don't think that I can stop. I could just say it. I love your everything, but I can't quite tell myself if you're feeling quite the same. So that would confirm that he is not, it's not a two-way street yet, or either she doesn't know how he feels about it. And my headcanon, having been correct this entire time so far, my headcanon is that, so now I can just say it and maybe I'll be right, or maybe I'll curse it and I'll be wrong, but it's that she is in love with him. I actually do think as of right now, he kind of does still, at least like on the surface, sees her as like a friend and just, the person he's always been with or taken care of. They've always taken care of each other, yada, yada, yada. And he doesn't feel that way at this time. And it's really the drama of their relationship starting is him realizing, or like, him having to fall in love with her because she's already in love with him. That's the way I see it right now. And she hasn't confessed yet. I see that happening in some way. The reason part of the reason I say that is, I'm starting to lose my train of thought here. It's sort of what you said about like your little, that psychology thing. So I think Ren's still sort of in that mode. And, the way I see it is it's to the point with, especially with the way Nora said what she said, like, I got you here, don't I? You're right. That is not something as close as they've been forever. The tone she said it with, and we know her voice actress is good enough to not accidentally sound flirty. That was definitely like there's an undertone to that, what she said, which you agreed with.
Has that already been confirmed in RWBY Chibi, even though apparently RWBY Chibi is not canon?
Chibi isn't canon, but they're using it to shove Renora. Like the Renora stuff has been canon everywhere else. So
yeah, I mean, one of the things that makes Chibi work is that everybody is still in character. They're just heightened versions of those characters.
Yeah, so the all the Nora stuff, the Renora stuff is kind of canon from Chibi in a certain way, in that like Ren's still oblivious there too.
The feeling is canon, but yeah, it's just exactly. It's kicked up several notches for comedic effect.
Yeah, exactly, and so that's the way I'm looking at it.
That is still like the best Chibi skit, by the way. Like not just because of that, but the whole lead up to that.
Yeah, the lead up to it is hilarious. They just incorporate so much.
If only they could see what was right in front of them. Yeah.
If only. Yeah, and that's where I want Hanzo to say, "Take action, son." I want that so bad.
God damn it, Red! I told you one thing before I died. Take action. This is what I was talking about.
Yeah, and so, but my overly hopeful head canon, and this would make sense now too. Is it's to the point where Nora is so like head over heels for him that she has to confess at some point. If they're not already a secret couple, which... Considering
Ren literally activated her aura with his aura, so they literally physically kind of... being touched together that way.
That's more of a...
Well, we don't know... Yeah, we don't know if that is a thing that happens. I know a lot of fanfiction... I know a lot of fanfiction say it does, because Arcos. But other than that, I don't know.
I mean, either way, there is a deep connection there, clearly. And from Nora's perspective, it's extremely romantic. With Boop definitely being confirmed and all this other stuff, she's crazy in love with him, obviously. And it's to the point where they will not be able to continue the relationship they have forever. She won't... The way she feels is not... That's my headcanon, is the way she feels is not... is too strong to be able to contain how she feels forever, and they can't just have this friendship they've had forever either way.
It's a push comes to shove sort of thing. She's eventually going to have to put
herself out there.
Yeah, she's going to have to put herself on the chopping block.
I mean, yeah, there's some tropes in there of the whole idea of, if he doesn't fall in love with her, she would not be able to take him falling in love with somebody else. Either way, whatever happens, they cannot go on just being together forever without becoming a couple. either Ren moves on to get some other girl or whatever, she has to tell him eventually. Whatever. Yeah. Either way.
So
Either
right.
John reminds Ren of his father.
Yeah. Well, I actually see Jean playing a big part in what happens with them. My headcanon, again, is to continue that is, Nora confesses Ren's not really sure, and that kind of makes Nora depressed. And then
Jean just slaps the shit out of him.
Jean is that's true, because that's what happened if you're going to the things of returning the favor kind of thing, which was already
as somebody who has been the Jean in that scenario, and had to slap sense into my friend who had this girl like basically like on her knees asking him to marry her. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's I could see that happening. That would all make sense.
That's not actually how it played out, but still.
and
I had to make that disclaimer because I know he watches my stuff.
So that's the way I see it. Like if we go with all the stuff that Jean returning favors, for he just did it for RWBY in this episode. That is sort of what I see happening. Is sort of like Jean and maybe somebody else has to kind of kick Ren and say like, hey, do you realize what you've got here? Like, you kind of already act like a couple anyways. You guys, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. Somebody has to help him realize realize his feelings, sort of how Nora realized her feelings for him over time.
John will remind him of his father and be like, take action.
Yeah.
Or more along the lines of actually John will be like, you don't know what you would have before it's gone, so you take what you can.
And look,
don't know what you got until it's gone.
Things from the episode into each other.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know what you guys think. That's something along those lines is what I see if what High Powered says isn't true. Which, I mean, I don't agree, but I could see that being true given the evidence he's given. It's possible, but if that's not what happens, then it's sort of going to happen probably the way, some way that I've laid out.
It's going to happen eventually, and I think we might actually see something this season.
Yeah.
Fat Man Fall's going to have a field day with this Volume 4 review.
And I'm more looking for what Celtic Phoenix has to say about this episode.
I am too. Celtic Phoenix is my spirit animal.
Did anybody else have any thoughts on the looks they gave to her? Or do you guys think High Powered and I are looking too much into that, or do you kind of think
no? Mostly because
animation is very deliberate.
Yes.
You don't do stuff in animation unless you need to put something across.
Coming from the person who...
Yeah, coming from our resident animator. Yes.
Just like the Star Wars theory about Jar Jar.
Gosh, that reminds me. I need to talk to CJ so I can get that one guy to come on the podcast once this volume is all over too also. That's going to be a good one.
Right, yes.
Oh, yeah. So... Yeah, I think we're ready to get into some theorizing bits.
Oh, yeah, I think we're good. We could do that now.
We've gone to nearly 2 hours mark now.
It's been an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah, we've had ones go over 2 hours. Yeah, that's about normal.
Ballzy.
Yeah.
What have you been?
Yeah.
That's
how it usually is.
Trying to figure out the time.
All right, so we can go alphabetical again.
Yeah, let's do what we normally do.
Yeah, Ballzy. Your
theories
predictions?
of the next episode, or just theories in general?
Well, I mean, there's only 2 more episodes, so you might as well just go for the whole rest of the season, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, do theories for... We'll all do our theories, and then we'll all do the episode predictions for the last 2 episodes. Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right, top to bottom.
Okay. My original theory it came out, just after the episode aired, was when I thought it was the Irish Dullahan, the Hoodless Horseman style thing, Team RWBY are going to be fighting, I guess, the group creature. They're going to cut off its head, and then it would have hopped off its horse, picked up its head, and kept on going. And then they're like, shit, and then they have to run. We can't defeat this thing yet. That would have been my prediction for the fight between them and the Grimm. And then, we're doing the series next, or to do that as another pass.
We'll do the episode predictions in the next pass.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking that the final fight's going to be.
Because this is our boss monster for the volume.
Oh yeah, definitely is, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna go with they're gonna. I don't know because we still haven't gone to Kuchinashi, and I still feel like given what we know has been proven about the town names meaning something, I really wonder if Renanor is still gonna get there first or something like that. Because I still feel like that's going to happen. I know, I'm such a Renora lover, but I still feel like they're going to have something there because that town has meant something every time. So I still kind of feel like that's going to happen. And then
turns out they don't go to Kuchinashi. Freaking Blake and Sun do.
Lol, that'd be annoying but hilarious. As far as the fight goes, if Ren and Nora go over there, then that means they wouldn't be in the fight, and I still feel like Ren will probably... It means more if Ren and Nora are there for that fight, and I feel like that thing is going to be so hard to defeat. I'm going with it's going to kick their ass, and Ruby's going to have to go all Silver Eyed Warrior on it, and that's what's going to beat it.
I feel like John Semblance gets unlocked as well.
Yeah, and maybe John Semblance gets unlocked, but either way, I think Ruby's going to have to go Silver. And that's my general prediction.
Oh, the bandits are coming! Please get that reference.
Is High Power tipping his fedora? Or?
He is. It's BRB.
Yes, I am. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so...
Your prediction.
So, for what I feel what'll happen... I'm just going to do for, the whole boss fight. So I feel it's reasonable that Ren and Nora will join back up with John and Ruby and Injured Crow. I don't know who mentioned it, but the concept of Ruby's scythe breaking and then she has to grab Crow's scythe to fight, that would actually be really cool.
That would be so goddamn cool. Who mentioned that?
That was me.
No joke.
That's so badass, dude.
If that happens, I will actually Skype you $5 if that happens. I mean, PayPal you $5. I don't know what the translation to.
If that happens, I'll give Ballzy $5 as well.
Yeah, I don't know what the exchange rate is on Freedom dollars to
you sure you want
Foster's beer is
because
he's gonna get more dollars. He gets more dollars than we have. Because American dollars
other thing which is on recording. You sure you want to commit to that?
I am fully committed to that because that would be so badass that it's worth the $5, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we've already seen evidence of her scythe being not in good repair right now. I mean, with the lens cap on the sight being broken from episode 7, when she's sniping.
That's a good point.
Scratches
Yeah.
and dings.
It's been hit. It got hit a few times, but didn't it get hit by Tyrion?
Yeah.
Yeah, it got shredded, scraped up by Tyrion.
Yeah.
So, Maiko, am I just doing for the monster fight?
Oh wait, I'm not done yet.
Oh,
we're just doing general predictions first, and then the episode.
Yeah. So here's So I still think that we might see the Bandit Clan. The big reason is because it's a safe assumption that Raven's probably keeping tabs on Crow. And it's going to be like, oh, I'll heal you, but you got to tell me about the relic. And that's basically it. And then, yeah.
You've been right about all the Ranger stuff so far, pretty much. So there's a good chance you're right about that, too.
All right, Media, it's your turn. I'm sorry.
All right, so some random predictions about this upcoming fight. I want Jean's semblance to be revealed with this fight. I want him to kill... In fact, I want him to kill the horse head part with his semblance. Or using his semblance, or with aid of a semblance. I don't care how to word it.
Semblance, horse head dead. Got it.
Yes. And with his head, he left it dead and went galloping back. So, I also want Rin to have, doubts about, him and Nora are on that mountaintop, looking at Kudryuri, watching this monster head there. Rin's having an existential crisis over it, and Nora has to, sit him down, metaphorically, and talk him down and be like, look, I know that thing killed your parents. I know it wrecked your home. And then have the whole spiel about, like, but that day might have... You might see that day as the end of your life, but I see it as the beginning of mine because you mean that much to me. Leads into a kiss, maybe. Hopefully.
I like the way media thinks.
And Nora and that's the scene that this animator went on Twitter and was talking about.
Yeah.
When he talked about Samantha Ireland, he was working on a scene where Samantha Ireland was just proven why she's his favorite voice actress in the series, and that's the scene he's talking about. So Nora has to talk him down and be like, "Look, our friends are down there. We need to save them." Nora being MVP. Nora and Ring come up and help out. Maybe get Ruby Silver Eyes. Either get Ruby Silver Eyes, which will end up scaring the monster off, or get the Bandit Clan to come in and save the day afterwards. And then,
They're interested in Ruby as well now.
Yes.
Great.
Well, yeah. And I think I said this before, but I think the Spring Maiden will use her magic to heal Crow.
Heil.
Oh, I'm sorry. One small thing I thought up real quick. I'll just throw it in real quick. John and Ruby will fight the boss monster, Boss Grim, for like a little bit, and then this kind of ties into what you say with media. Like Ren, the reinforcements don't come as quick because Ren's having his existential crisis, and then Nora's like, "Okay, we got to go do this." Because we can't abandon, like, you didn't abandon me, we're not going to abandon our team. And then they kiss. And then they go off.
Yes, please.
Oh god, if that actually happens...
Oh my god, yes, please.
I'll walk out into my parking lot with my AR and I'll just dump a magazine into the ground. And I'll just walk back in. I got a silencer on, no one will know. Actually, they will know because it sounds like a damn nail gun going off.
I was gonna say, I don't think a silencer is that good. So I'm still gonna wonder what you're doing.
Alright, okay, yeah, I'm done. Okay, Media, you can keep going, I'm sorry.
And I think that will actually more or less conclude the Ranger portion of this volume. I still think we'll get them arriving in Mistral at the very end.
Mini time skip?
Or just portals from Raven. But I think I'm kind of worried this is going to happen. But I think next episode we might not get any Ranger.
No, we're probably not.
They'd have to continue.
Isn't that getting to the episode predictions? Which
Yeah, that's getting to there.
Yeah, that's why I was like, where do we draw the line with that?
Yeah, I think we just go to.
We want to continue.
You can go ahead and skip to it. You can go ahead and skip to it. Everything that I would have said has already been stated multiple times, so I'm good. Let us continue.
Okay.
So you want to go reverse now and have let Media continue and just do his whole prediction then?
Do it.
Is that good with you, Media?
Yeah. I think next episode we'll get the conclusion of Blake Weiss, or not the conclusion, but Blake Weiss and Yang in the episode, and that'll be it. And we'll finally see what happened to Sun, and we'll see Yang get more into the fight or be more ready mentally and physically to start heading to Mistral, and we'll see Weiss's escape.
So I guess it's my turn, or are we just gonna go from bottom to top?
Yeah.
Right,
So
well,
it's your turn. High
Bottom to top. Bottom to top.
Whatever. Okay, so I guess I'll go then. Dude, Ballzy, and then Sock. Sounds good. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so my episode prediction is probably pretty in line with Media's, where we'll get, conclusions as good as we can get them for Weiss, Blake, and Yang. Weiss's escape would be awesome. I kind of hope we get for Yang I don't want them to just start out where it's we see. Okay, if I see Yang in her like outfit that they had for the character art at like the RTX, I'll be like, okay, yeah, I know they're gonna start, doing their trip now. For Blake, I feel with Blake, this is probably where we get the scene where like they're just like, okay, well, I don't know. Part of me wants to say that we'll get the scene where they're up like on the boat heading back, but I don't think that is with Sun's injuries, not knowing how bad Sun is actually injured, because it's very hard to gauge how bad someone is hurt in RWBY. Let's be real honest here.
Yeah, I was about to point that out. That's very true.
Next episode we might get like a peek of Ranger, but like a hair of it, like at the very end, just like a little bit.
They have the encounter. And then the end of the episode's there.
Or no, the encounter starts, and then the episode ends.
I mean, like episode 6 and 7.
Basically, that's why I think we might get a repeat of episode 6 and 7. And then for the final episode, it'll be mostly Ranger, and we'll probably see Oscar again. And then whatever ending credit scenes that they have. And part of me wants to hope it's just like a Cinder that like half of her body has been like grimified to heal her or something. I don't know. I would take John's semblance over RWBY going silverized any day of the week. If I don't see John's semblance in this volume, I just don't care anymore. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Have you seen the show? The anime Soul Eater?
I've seen chunks of it.
Do you know how it's like when Maka goes into like full like crescent form, like her scythe goes like full on crescent moon, kind of curving 180 degrees around? And what if that's what happens with Ruby's scythe when she goes silver-eyed? Like her scythe.
You mean her witch hunting thing?
Yeah,
her powers.
Yeah,
her witch
transformer.
Her witch hunting scythe. From like
there's a fan art of that like as soon as Volume 3 ended, where it was her doing that against Cinder.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. I think Dishwasher did that one too also.
Yeah, no, Dishwasher.
Goddamn, Dishwasher is a wizard.
And that'd be another interesting thing she could... I'd be happy with that for the site as well.
The thing is, we don't need Silver Eyes this volume. We need Jean's semblance this volume because it's been too damn long.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. If it doesn't happen this volume, then there's absolutely no conceivable way that it's good enough for it to be worth waiting another year.
Yes. Agreed completely.
It's the whole what I've called the Toby principle. Is what I call the Toby principle.
Don't know what that is, but sure.
Sock gets it.
Good for
it's a Naruto thing.
Yeah.
More Naruto.
Yes.
God, I'm gonna binge watch that show and lose like a week of my life just so I can understand all these stupid ass references you're making on this goddamn podcast that I'm on every week.
Look, man, just burn through the manga.
No, the best way to experience Naruto story is through the CyberConnect games. The Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. It's the exact same story, but not taking over.
Already been introduced as Jean's semblance in RWBY Grim Eclipse?
No.
No?
That's not canon. In that case, Ren's semblance is actually teleporting, which doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's true. All right, my turn.
You know
of. Yep, you go.
All right, I'm up. All right, so I'm just going to basically steal what they said also because what media said about Nora's speech to calm Ren down and make out with him and all that stuff, that sounds amazing, and I really want that to happen. And it does make sense given what the animator hinted about, because I don't think they have that much time. I don't think there's that much left for them to...
40 minutes worth of episode time left that they can possibly
probably
like 2 20-minute
at most, really.
Yeah.
Or they go end of volume 3 into a half an hour long episode.
Well, 10 minutes of that was credits.
Yeah, I mean, if we're really lucky, I'm hoping. I think if we're really lucky, we get 45 minutes of episode time left. I still think they'll probably be two of the longest episodes, and I'm hoping the last episode will be the longest. But either way, I don't think they considering that we do have to get the other result, some resolution. God, words are a thing.
Especially
Some
for the
resolution.
Blake stuff.
Yeah, especially for Blake stuff. I totally agree with that. So I think was high powered is onto something. I think it was him who's onto something. Was saying that we might not actually get any Ranger next episode. We might actually just.
No, I think that was media. Said no.
Was the media said that?
So someone in here
did.
said no
I did.
episode.
I
No
did.
Ranger next
Okay.
episode.
It was media. Okay, so I think we actually might get very little. Actually, no, I don't think we'll get no. I think we'll get a light amount because I think we have to go. No, I'll probably get Oscar in the last episode a little bit, is my guess. He'll probably start off the last episode like he always seems to just start off episodes. So we'll probably start off the last episode. And then I mean,
last episode, I think we'll get them all.
I think last episode we might get them all as well. So that means I don't actually think we'll get no Ranger in the next episode. I actually think what will happen is we'll probably get that awesome Nora speech and the kiss, aka my new screensaver, in the next episode, like at the end of the next episode. And we'll get, before in the beginning episode, we're going to get definitely something with Blake. Hopefully Weiss's breakout and maybe Yang. I think they might keep Yang because there's not much to happen with her. Either we get Yang. I think we only get Yang for one of the episodes where she just, she puts on her new outfit or whatever, goes with Taiyang off on their journey to Mistral, or probably is what's going to happen. Weiss, I think, will probably just get in one of the two also. I don't know what else would have to happen in the rest of the season for her besides her breaking out. Maybe we get a scene of her breaking out in the next episode and where she's headed in the last episode. Blake is where we might get more and it's a little bit more murky. We definitely have to get what happened to Sun, her dealing with that. She's definitely got to apologize the fuck out of him because goddamn does he deserve it, and goddamn does she need to keep apologizing to people.
We
Totally
forgot as well.
Probably not this season.
Oh, Blake
Forget
kiss
it.
son.
But it definitely has to be an apology. It's possible, though.
Maybe a kiss on the forehead, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be some sort of apology and resolution there. I hope they start making their way somewhere on a boat by the end of the season.
That would be nice.
I really, that's what I'm hoping for.
I'm just hoping the White Fang isn't trying to overthrow the whatever, just like...
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't really even know what's going on in Menagerie right now.
That's true. I hope we get a little more clarification on that.
Yeah, that's what I say. We're getting more from that than other people.
Because Ilya said, like, you shouldn't have come back. Like, why? This is my home.
Feels like there's like a coup of some kind. Well,
yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Coup.
So either they're on the boat or there's a coup of some kind and we get that instead. And that's where that ends for them. And I think the fight starts with the Grim. And that's when Ren and North show up, and either RWBY has to go Silver Eyed Warriors. I definitely want John Stambles. I totally agree. If we don't get it at the end, I don't give a fuck anymore. I already kind of don't give a fuck, to be honest, at this point. And
yeah, like right now it has to be some Green Lantern level stuff for it to be interesting enough to have warranted waiting this long.
My guess is actually incredibly boring. That's my guess. It's really honestly not that great. I'm expecting to be disappointed either way, so I don't really care that much. I hope
with the no expectations.
I love the idea of the scythe breaking and her having to use Crow's scythe. That'd be awesome. Either she goes Silver Eyed Warriors or the Bandit Clan shows up, and if the Bandit Clan shows up, I have no idea exactly what's going to happen. And so
they've teased it so much they can't just not do it at some point in this.
I mean, I'll be perfectly honest at this point with this episode, and my dispositions. I just want Renora to happen, and everything else, as long as it's interesting, I'll let everybody else predict that. I want that scene that animator is referring to be Nora's confession scene. I really, really want that, and I'm not 100% sure what will happen after that, but I hope it's good. And I'm done.
Yeah, you've kind of discussed.
Yeah, oh my god, we only got 2 more of these left.
I know, yeah, right? It's crazy.
A little bit of something I want to happen for the beginning of next volume, maybe. Like, this is really a crack theory for a crack ship, or something. Begin with the Ozpin and RWBY.
Oh, Oscar and RWBY.
That might actually be a thing that happens.
I don't want that.
They meet up with each other on the road.
Well, he's going straight to Mistral. So if they when they meet up, it'll be in Mistral.
Mm. That was kind of my theory, like of just maybe they'll meet up like earlier on in the series. But that doesn't seem to be a thing now.
I don't know. I'm the one who said that. I'm the one who predicted that freaking Oscar was in Vale and that he was gonna hook up with Yang.
I kind of, oh man, I just want Yang to have a romantic interest.
I know, like she's the only one who doesn't really, other than Blake, she doesn't really have anybody to ship with.
Well, there
She
was
does.
like
It's called me.
Mercury and that.
No, those are crack ships though. Same thing with her and Neo. Or her and friggin' pretty much anybody except Blake. Like maybe that's why Bumblebee is so popular. Is not really for Blakeson, but because Yang doesn't share screen time with anybody else
Well,
outside her family.
If only one episode 2, it's just like
I was going to say she was eyeing some of the men walking around in their.
Yeah. That's always been like evidence against her rolling that way. But who knows? She could be bi. But still, like
and then along comes
Yeah.
John and ruins the scene.
yeah, like Yang doesn't have any kind of romantic interest of that gender, at least.
Mercury.
With any gender, at least.
Yeah, again, like the closest one is Blake.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that if Bumblebee doesn't happen, you gotta what is gonna happen with her? You're right. She does need a romantic.
Maybe
if it's not,
Ruby isn't into guys.
Well, if that's true, then White Rose.
yeah, then it'd be White Rose.
But yeah, I
Bill?
want
I'm
Lancaster.
going-
I want Lancaster.
Yeah, especially after this episode, I'm on the Lancaster bandwagon, no question.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I mean, Renora is still the OTP. Renora for life. Renora is life. But
I
after
heard
that,
the after credit scenes are either going to be Adam Taurus appearing on Menagerie, or
I think the post credit scene will be Tyrion.
Yeah, Tyrion.
I think it'll be
Tyrion returning to
Cinder.
Cinder or Salem.
Return to Sender. I mean, return to Cinder.
with an S, SENDER.
Yeah.
Return to Cinder.
Yes. Ruby, return to Sender. Achievement unlocked.
is it finally time to let Sock talk?
Yeah,
Sock.
Sokka's been in
Talk.
the.
You're the top drawer.
Well,
Go.
Sock was pretty much like, you're all saying everything I
Are
wanted
you
to
there,
say.
Sock?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, he's here.
it's bottom drawer, mind you.
Yes.
Nah.
Yeah.
There's a reason about the bottom.
Fine then.
Okay, for me, it's basically episode 11. It's going to be Weiss part 1, Blake part 1, and then the rest of the other half is going to be Ranger. And episode 12 is going to be the Weiss part 2, Blake part 2, Ranger with the Ranger in the Grim fight, with ending with Yang and having disabled end credits. However, for the Grim fight, it is basically, as people were saying, was like Nora ran on the mountaintop. Ren's still like, kind of terrified and kind of in shock. He he does not want to go down there. So Nora has to go give him that whole pep talk and perhaps even that kiss. But who knows if she just kisses him and actually just has to run down because he is not moving. So Nora joins the fray, and she ends up getting put in a position where the Knuckle V is about to kill her, and either activates the trap cards. It's either Ruby going Silver Eyes, or it's Red jumping in and then getting the Krillin KO count, and so Nora has to help him there, and then they're both put in a bad position, and so before they're dead, John has to come in and defend them, and he might activate his semblance there, and who knows where it's going there, because it's either that or John's semblance does all shit, and we just get the Silver Eyes all over again, where Ruby's passed out, Crow's useless, and the Bandit Tribe's here, and they're pretty much worn down from the fight, and we don't know where it's going to go from there.
I want to see what he's been doing with this training from episode 2 of this volume. He's trying to do a similar thing that Crow done in the Tyrion fight. Send aura through his essentially slices, but pump out aura every time he slices, like he done with Tyrion, Crow done fighting Tyrion and cut the building and all that. I want to see John do that.
Well, he might do that if what media said he does that to the horse head part.
One of the heads.
Just one. It's like, although it'd be weird, it's like you take out the horse head, but it's like, but the human head looking part would probably be the better part to take off, wouldn't it? I mean, because it wouldn't be able to use its arms.
Get to. Probably a bit more difficult to get to.
We still don't know how it fights. Like all we see is it just stalks and it's just like
that's what we don't even know about it. Like, what does it actually do? That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it's got these like long like spider like dragging arms, just kind of like just dragging on the ground. It's like, okay, what is like? It's got some reach on it. Yeah, but that's really all I have to say. It's basically like Yang. The episode 12 ends with Yang leaving, and then we get the Sailor Moon credits. That's pretty much it. Just short and sweet. Just be done with it.
Yeah. To add to what I was saying about the fight, it slipped my mind while I was going on because I already told you all this earlier tonight. But RWBY is very impulsive, and she has a knack for abandoning her team to fight monsters. I think when she sees the new Clavi, she's going to rush in and just get the shit slapped out of her.
Get instantly memed on.
Yes.
And John's gonna have to John's gonna have to dive in the way and save her, and that's how he freaking. That's how he uses his semblance.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah,
happening.
so somewhere along the lines of what I was thinking, but like in a different sense.
Dome energy shield.
Yeah. And also one other little thing, like more evidence for Nora having to give her speech now, besides what media said and the fact that the what the animator said was, I forgot, one of the lines is, a couple of the lines in Boop are her trying to convince herself to show restraint. So that's more just, it's got to happen eventually. And but yeah, the Jean semblance thing, I think I like that idea. What media said too is I see RWBY doing something like that. That's got to be like either that or Ren and Nora getting hurt, but I would lean towards RWBY instead, like her like being that impulsive or something like that.
It's just like sometimes I forget that she's that impulsive. It's like
exactly.
Like, this volume, she's just kind of been there and just kind of been the target of the attention's been on her, but she hasn't really done much. Like,
that's true. That's very true. But would that mean, so with media's idea, that means that the Bandit Clan probably has. So does that mean the Bandit Clan has to come in and save the day instead of RWBY going Silver Eyes?
That's what I'm thinking. Either we get Semblance, Silver Eyes, or Bandit Clan. It's one of those three.
Yeah, but that just raises questions like, oh, well, shit. We you have Silver Eyes and you're all weakened. What does this leave for the Bandit?
Well, the thing is, too, also is I would assume that Raven would, if the Bandit Clan does come in, she obviously would recognize Crow, but she probably definitely knows about RWBY.
Yeah.
I can just see her looking at just like after she takes off the mask, just looking RWBY up and down, going, "You do take after your mother," and just walks off.
Oh, that'd be so good.
You're your mother's child, all right.
And just walks off with Crow.
Alright, so you want to do some final thoughts, I guess?
Closing statements?
Yeah, we're definitely already over 2 hours, so I mean...
That's not surprising for this episode.
No, not surprising at all. I rambled on for about as long as I could allow myself to.
I'm good.
Yeah, so closing thoughts from the top?
Shit's going down.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, this episode was amazing. I could seriously go on and on how much I love this episode. More than I could ever expect for the Renora backstory. I hope that what media's saying and the clues that we're getting is that scene where, Samantha Ireland really kicking ass is her confession scene. That's what I want. I hope the way they get them together is as good as they gave their backstory. I don't know if it can be. It was pretty amazing, but I hope it can somehow hold up to that. That's what I care about. Everything else, I hope Blake apologizes to Stun, and otherwise just Renora all the way, and anything else just can happen however the fuck he wants to.
Okay.
I mean, other than that, I just want these damn episodes to come out. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do whenever this is all over, though. But we'll figure something out.
Yeah, I do not want them to give us another week off or something for like the RTX Australia thing. I really don't want that.
They're gonna find a way to cuck us.
Yeah,
well,
I'm
Australia
really
is way ahead of us, as me and Ballzy were
15
discussing.
Yeah.
They're literally in the future. It's all about perspective.
And the RTX thing is their Friday, so that's gonna be like
true.
our Thursday night.
Your Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. So my closing thoughts are: I love this episode. I think the more I think about, I think this might be the best episode of this volume, and it might be it. I don't know. I have to wait until after the volume's over and really like sink my teeth into the volume as a whole and where it holds up. But I think this episode was better. It's certainly up there for me.
The last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I mean the last episode was an apology for episode 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Totally was.
then, taking away the Blake scene with the questionable choreography with the
Yeah, like that. That's why that episode I can't in good consciousness put it that high up.
It's called Two
And
Steps
the biggest
Forward,
problem
Two
with this
Steps
one was
Back,
the child voice acting. So if that's the biggest problem with this episode, then
Which I didn't even really mind because I know that kids are always shit actors.
yeah, these 2 in a row have been amazing. If the next 2 are as good, holy shit, you know.
Keep it up.
So I'm not.
They're both at least 20 minutes.
So
Hey, if they keep it up for the next 2 episodes, then it'll confirm that Monty was the one that was bad at writing endings.
Oh yeah, that would actually be true.
Man, there's gonna be a firestorm started up.
There'll be a little firestorm, but you're right.
Because the ending of Volume 1 and Volume 2 were garbage.
They were. They really were. Yeah. So media confirming that I wasn't the only one who thought that this Renora backstory was the most adorable thing in the universe.
I was gonna say in creating and like directing this sort of stuff, like isn't it like the writer's jobs to like rein in the director or something like that? I'm trying to remember what it is.
The director has final say, really.
Yeah.
After they get it past the producers and the executives. So yeah.
All right. Well, this was definitely a good podcast.
Yep, I had fun.
Yeah.
Blast. Alrighty. Well, I'll let media wrap this all up then.
Oh yeah, plugging.
Yeah, plugins. It's time for plugins because you totally listened to those parts.
It could probably be, you can either call it a plug-in or a socket.
Hey,
if you had anything to plug, I would start calling it a socket.
Alright, top for the top or?
Yeah, from the top.
Yeah, still got that 3D World of Remnant map, but I'm also starting to plan I guess the working title is currently the Remnant Cartographer series.
Yes, which me and Ballzy have been talking about that together, and we're thinking about collaborating on it. So talking about the geography of Remnant and the different versions of the maps. It's gonna be great.
How does the railway network work? Where is the shipping network?
Yeah.
But then that's a bit too...
Alright, yep.
We're just letting our autism flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, dude?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to plug right now. I have a first couple episodes of an abridged series written. There's so many other things that I'm working on, though, right now. I have my regular job, my second job. I have a third job I technically kind of do as well, helping my fiance start her own YouTube channel. So anything from me is pretty much on hold right now. My fan fiction is actually, I'm basically stopped it too because the Renora headcanon I had that I was going to write was done even better in the show. So there's no reason for me to even give my Renora headcanon. So, because I thought I was going to have to, and I am delighted to say I don't have to because this was better even. So, fuck yeah. I mean, I'm on cloud 9 right now, so I don't have anything to plug. Watch the show, ship Renora. That's really all I have to say.
I will say that I finished up the 4th chapter of my Ruby Operator fanfic, which I need to get to making that damn account of fanfiction.net and posting it somewhere, but it needs a lot of editing. I look forward to it. Also, anyone who listens to the podcast that's really good at drawing fit brown Amazonian women, if media could put a link to the Discord in the YouTube link, that would be great.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
I have money. I'm not poor. I can pay you. So yeah, I need that drawn because I think I did a good job describing, but I just like to just post a link there just for exampling purposes. All right.
I am Mediocrity4. If you've liked this video, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and hit that subscribe button. I do regular RWBY reviews, and I'm also on fanfiction at Mediocrity4. RWBY on Generations is going strong. I'm actually ramping up to the climax of the first arc of RWBY on Generations, which is Remnant's Most Wanted. Then, so that's going to continue. I also have Guardians of Terra on Fiction Press, which, chapter 4? Yeah, that's the chapter I'm on. Chapter 4 will be coming out sometime this weekend when I have time to write it. And other than that, yeah, my review for this episode will probably hopefully come out Thursday night, if not Friday night. I'm going to work on it all day Thursday because it's like my one off day I have now that school has started back up for me. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share, because I like doing this, and I'll like it a lot more if more people would watch it.
You got a love for bad jokes, puns, and hate cliches? Check my work out at deviantart.com, Socklucard. The story is called Slightly Unstable. That's really all there is to it.
Yep. Alright, so yeah, those were all our thoughts about RWBY Volume 4, Chapter 10. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Renora!
Yeah.
Lancaster!
Yeah, so have a good night, and Renora on 3, 3, 2, 1.
Renora!
Oh my god, they're so goddamn cute.